The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
All right. Welcome to Evil Sunset City, the Sonic podcast for evil people. Tom's not here yet. He will be here soon, as will be Trey. They're just a bit held up because they are romantically inclined towards each other. But for now, we got Frank.
Hello.
And we got myself, Channel Pup.
We're starting.
Oh, you're still here. So are you done with your eating? Back. Are you complete with the eating?
Oh, yes. It took 2 minutes. Not even that.
Is that actually sarcasm, or are you being serious that you ate your dinner in 2 minutes?
Yes, I ate it in minutes. Since I left a minute ago, that also means that I left. Yeah, it's all done. It is all...
I really want to know when I'm expecting you to eat, because I want to coordinate it with the animation discussion.
It'll be... negative 4 minutes.
For that particular subject. What are you doing? You're playing with me. You're playing with me.
Well, it is a game that must be played.
Welcome back to Evil Sunset City. This is Tom Topics. We've already introduced Frank. I'm Channel Pup. Let's fucking go. And Trey will be here soon, eventually. He'll be here when he's here. Frank, you've presented us with some news today, haven't you?
I have, yes. So, anybody remember the Shadow the Hedgehog manga from Cororo magazine?
Sure do.
Indeed.
Well, in a post on Twitter, they are going to be working on one based on Sonic the Hedgehog, and one of their requests for readers is to not take it and share it on social media like they did with the Shadow the Hedgehog one. For obvious reasons, copyright infringement and stuff. But in the same post, they stated that they want to do what they can to try to get the Shadow the Hedgehog one to release in English, like an official translation of it, as opposed to whatever fan translations were around when those were being released. So, I know there were a few people who were like, oh, well, they should have released it in English at first. My first thing was like, well, you obviously don't know how that works. And my immediate thought was, everybody who started like downloading that shit and started passing around the English fan translations, you better be supporting this one.
Yeah, because I remember we did like clown on it quite a bit when they were like, please stop posting images of our comic that you cannot possibly read legally. Like, we all had a little laugh at that. But
yeah,
the thing is, that was the whole reason we were kind of laughing, was like, there is no easy legal way for us to get this, so this is the only option we have. But the fact is, they are clearly going to some efforts to bring the Shadow manga to us, and hopefully the Sonic one. So I won't lie, it's like, if their whole, stipulation is, yeah, we'll bring you those comics, just please don't post any images unauthorized. The thing is, any company directly saying that is kind of asking for it from trolls, but at the same time, like, I wanted to read the comic. That was why I took a look at some of the translations, and I sure as hell will support the official thing when it comes over here in English. Like, it's only right. It's only fair.
As much as, it's going to be weird to say, but as much as they've been on about the copyright violations and stuff, like, reposting pages or entire issues or whatever, it sent a message to them, like, hey, there is a demand for this. So yeah, it's very weird. It's a bit of both,
if nothing else.
In trying to get it localized, they have done the right thing in response to that, I think. Like, that is the right move to take, noticing there's a market there. I just question, like, how they're going to deal with the distribution and stuff, because, as we also did say, like, yeah, like, getting this stuff distributed in the West, does it have to be done through another publisher? Does it have to be in some other comic? And, I mean, I haven't seen the entirety of the Cororo Shadow manga, but, is it, like, Is it like a full-length manga, or are these just like little short stories, effectively?
If I remember correctly, it would probably be the same as like the DC cross Sonic the Hedgehog comics, similar amount of pages. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were released in a similar way. But then again, I don't know exactly who they would go through in the States, or if they would try it themselves or whatever. And I'm not even sure if they would go through like physical and digital, or just digital only.
Yeah, I'd definitely like a physical if I could get one.
Oh, me too.
But while they're at it, like, obviously they've noticed, okay, there is a demand for this stuff. Sega's probably going to be the thing blocking this, but I would love it if they would re-release the old Cororo Sonic mangas as well, for, like, a Western audience. Like...
Yeah, I feel like that one would be harder to do.
It would, yeah, because obviously, like, Sega is quite stringent about brand image for Sonic, and it no longer coincides. I mean, I don't think it even coincided at the time, but Sega are especially closed-minded towards that kind of stuff nowadays. That, yeah, I reckon they would probably block that and be like, no, that we don't want to confuse people with Nicky the Hedgehog and Sonic being his future self and Tails being a badass who wears sunglasses. We don't want to push that narrative. And it's like, I'm a Nicky the Hedgehog truther. I actually didn't hate the idea that Sonic was like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of scenario, and that he had like his own mild-mannered Peter Parker alter ego. But like, that's because I'm always game for a little exploration of something different, But it's like, there's obviously that Sonic Blitz game that we talked about a little bit last episode with Nick, and they're kind of exploring some other areas of the Sonic IP that they could bring to that game. I would love it if we could see some of the Cororo universe stuff in there, such as Nicky the Hedgehog and his father. What the fuck's his name? The Hedgehog, the big fella. He's a big boy.
Oh, okay. They might have to change his name if that's what it is.
But I think they could release it under like an adult label or something. I don't know.
Oh,
It'd be like the What If series. Be like, yeah, here's an alternative look at what could have been, or something along those lines, just to be like, hey, we're
what
not
if
doing
Sonic's
this now.
dad's name was just a series of expletives?
Only
Then I'd
Qbert really
buy it
knows
in a
his name.
heartbeat.
Oh, same. If they had a character in Sonic whose name was a series of expletives, I'd be right there.
Wait, am I looking at the same one?
Show me. What do you got? What are you looking at? But I know that, like, Sonic's dad, or Nicky's dad anyway, was, like, a gruff dude. And he had, like, stubble. And he had, like, a really
His
big
name was
bottom
Paulie.
lip. Was it really Paulie?
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. Paulie Hedgehog? Hey, are you big fat Paulie?
Ollie.
Yeah, it was Paulie the Hedgehog! And he wears... Yeah, he has a pipe and he wears a cap that says Hedgehog Air Service, which also kind of plays into that fighter pilot origin story for Sonic. But it's so funny seeing a Sonic character at all with, like, stubble. Like, you never see that. Oh, it's so fucking funny. And yeah, in this little universe as well, like, the Son Amy fans would be sated, because technically, Sonic and Amy are kind of together in that story, kinda.
Oh, then we're never gonna see this.
Yeah, it'll never see the light of day. Even though it was just like a cute, like, oh, look, they're like little elementary schoolers in love, effectively, was kind of like the whole vibe they were going for in those early comics. And, like, Nicky the Hedgehog was always getting bullied by, like, that turtle guy. And, I recall it was like, Sonic would come in, and he's just like, he is Nicky the Hedgehog from the future. He's grown into that sort of, that Chad Sonic character after being like a mild-mannered little guy. And Tails is the only person that knows that Nicky and Sonic are the same person. I think that's crazy. But the idea of like a...
You know what?
A superhero...
Cororo, please bring that over here. That just sounds like too interesting to just leave in the past.
The idea of a superhero, though, that, like, exclusively just goes back in time to protect his younger self from bullies. He's like the crappiest superhero ever. He's effectively rewriting his own history. It's like, what if these experiences led to you being the hedgehog you are today, Sonic? What then?
Wasn't there a Ryan Reynolds movie that literally was that premise or something like that? It was something along those lines.
Also, what's the name of Sonic's mum in the Cororo manga? Like...
Oh god, I don't know. I know
hold
next to
hold
nothing about these comics. It's just I
'Cause,
know they
I'm
exist.
not gonna lie.
Stop.
Brenda.
Brenda
There is no way.
Hedgehog! Yes! Okay, let's have a look.
There is
Brenda-
no way.
Brenda Hedgehog.
Oh my god. Yeah, apparently.
This is just people
Shit.
discovering Cororo Sonic manga mythology.
I mean, Sega doesn't exactly let people see it very easily, so yeah.
Yeah, but she's the
First time being
size of your
experienced.
average human mother.
Oh, I don't like where this is going.
I mean, you like it, fair enough.
If only we could see her take wing.
Don't no. Hello, Trey, but no,
Hello, Trey.
but no.
But no.
Hello.
Hey,
Okay.
Trey.
I am.
Yeah, we can hear
Hello.
you fine. Then now that you're here, let's finish the
Yes.
housekeeping. I'm going to pretend that
Oh.
this was always the plan and that I didn't just forget that earlier. But yes, super chats are read at the end of the show. So if you're waiting on your super chat to be read, that's when it'll be. And this show is brought to you as always by our many great patrons. Special shout out goes to the Bat Enjoyer tier, My Great Rolls, Ven101, Aiden's Fitzgerald, Stardust Chaos, Crimson Rose, Mr. SP, and Katie. And with that, we can move along.
There we go.
Nice.
Uh,
I will.
So is it Fitzgerald or Fitzgerald?
Nobody knows.
I always thought it was Fitzgerald.
I think most people
Yeah.
would say Fitzgerald, but I'm saying Fitzgerald.
He hasn't been corrected yet.
I haven't exactly.
Or Aiden's just way too nice. And he's
Or
like,
maybe
I'll just let them say whatever.
Maybe there's like a
That's true.
stack of unread DMs on Patreon, like it's fucking Fitzgerald.
It's like, guys,
You
By the way-
knob.
You
By the way-
idiot.
apologize for being late. I had to do some yard work and eat some sunflower seeds and
Literally.
read Tom
What-
Sawyer.
what
And
was I
yeah.
saying?
He had to paint the white fence.
Mhm.
Well, in the spirit of that, we've actually got you know what Tom's last name is? Sawyer.
What's up?
No, it ain't.
Yeah, he's
It
British.
really ain't.
And my fence remains unwhitened. Get to it, Tom.
Just because you want to whitewash everything doesn't mean I have to be your person to do it for you.
Remarks like that in Pride Month, no less.
Mhm.
That's not. Okay, I'm not even going to
What?
go down that.
What?
That ain't
It's a-
right.
Yeah,
It's
Pride,
okay.
Pride Month. Pride Month
It's
isn't
okay. He's an idiot.
like Pride Month isn't solely about race. Like that
Don't
can play a part,
don't
sure,
worry,
but-
Trey. Like he hasn't realized
my
yet that like multiple marginalized groups exist. He thinks it's all just one.
Trying to do the
Okay,
reverse
but-
psychology on him. Like, what's it?
Don't worry, Pup's an idiot.
No.
Hey,
We
Well-
can leave it there.
I mean,
well,
it's true.
It's true.
Tom, have you ever seen that
That-
Ouya conference thing?
Wait, which one? Which one was that?
The one where the lady's saying this controller does something no other controller has done. It's got a touchpad interface, and then one of the guys goes, "Oh, Sony are actually doing that with their PS4," and she goes, "That's true," and just moves on.
It's so funny.
It is like the
Press
most.
conferences.
It's the most
Like-
me thing.
God, press conferences always seem to have like the 50-50 chance of either being boring as hell or the most hilariously just biggest catastrophes possible, and it's amazing.
It's like I think it's so funny because it's like, what else can she say at that point other than like, "You're right, let's move on." You know,
I
it's
mean,
like
she could be like,
I got
fucking
duped.
oopsie doopsie, I guess.
She could just lie on the spot. Yeah, they took that from us.
Oh, there's another
yeah.
manga that we're not aware of that has been pointed to my attention by Charles Champ. Look up Sonic Joe from the Cororo manga comics. And yeah, it does appear to be another story called Sonic Joe. I love how like Sonic properties are always Sonic
that-
and then something else, and we just got to the point of just using people names.
wait,
This
is that
okay,
just
so-
like
very
is that
early.
like
Like
a-
the
is it-
legend of Joe Biden.
is it like
I got Joe
Joe
Rogan
Swanson?
podcast.
Yeah.
So Sonic Joe.
I could just imagine Joe Swanson just being like, "Hey,
Okay,
hey,
so
egg,
there
hey,
is-
Eggman."
There is we do have answers here. I'm looking at the Sonic Wiki Zone right now. Sonic Joe. So this is more like, Samoa Joe. You've got the adjective. The Sonic part is the adjective. Sonic Joe is a character that appears in the Sonic the Hedgehog illustrated stories published by Shogakukan. He was a pilot and a good friend of Paulie the Hedgehog until he was killed in a plane accident. This is literally the...
What the fuck?
Sega was so
that's the
fucking
Bible.
serious about this fighter pilot story back then. He was immortalized following the death of his... for his status as the first pilot to break the sound barrier, with legends stating that his spirit still lingers as a guardian to all pilots. Hang on a minute, though. The other one dictates that Sonic is the future self of Nicky the Hedgehog, yet this thing that's in the same canon states that Sonic is the spirit of Sonic Joe the fighter pilot.
Bro, Sega was ahead of the curve when it came to creating AUs back in the day. I swear to God, like they were on a different level entirely.
I'm guessing Sonic Joe is the canon one. Like,
Probably.
Paulie the Hedgehog is so funny.
Hey, Cororo, can you just bring us these as well? I would fucking buy
please.
these.
If they
This is
released
amazing.
If they release all these mangas in English, this would be an absolute treasure trove.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
I mean, part of me was about to go into my Sonic X douche mode and be like, why don't you just read it in Japanese? But then I remember reading doesn't have subtitles.
Oh,
Yep, that's true.
you need to learn
true.
kanji to do that, then. That's true.
That's true.
Fucking learn
Hey, Peter.
Japanese!
Hey people, hey Peter, I'm
Hey,
gonna
Peter.
break the sound barrier.
So-
Hey Peter, I'm gonna do it too. And, hey Peter,
Actually,
I love chili dogs. Hey Peter. That's what I think when I think of Sonic Joe. It's just Joe Swanson in a Sonic costume. He's just like,
Sonic
"Hey,
and his
Peter."
friends are like Peter and the guys. They try to start a band.
I'm just realizing, though, why we might want to get off the topic of Sonic's origin story. Because it involves a lot of aviation stuff. And it has not been a good year for
Oh
aviation.
my God.
Oh,
It like
yeah, well,
I'm
yeah.
not even saying that jokingly. I'm saying we should genuinely like move on because like I'm just realizing
Okay.
that
yeah. Okay, fine.
Okay. I mean, I'm
Okay.
gonna go for a bit. I'll be back in time for the animation thing, like you suggested.
How do you know that? How do you literally know that? You don't have the docket in front of you.
Because I have faith, and that's all I'll need.
All right, go eat your dinner. Go on.
That's right, Tom.
Good.
Isn't this
I
amazing,
appreciate their
guys?
continuous support.
We've got a Sunset City guest who goes to have his dinner. That's the new gimmick.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's not a great one, but
I
want to
find a PNG of like a grazing bag and stick it on your character.
God, I mean, if you want to, it's your show. I don't really can't. I don't have much power anymore over this. We've been over this so many times with how many times it does it.
You don't really have PNGs of those. Never mind. It doesn't matter. All right, off you go, young buck. Go eat your dinner, and we'll move on to something that won't interest you.
Ugh, in a bit.
We do have two topics.
All right.
One I just wanted to throw out there because it's a brand new experience, but it's not really news. So, guys, laugh at me all you want. Right,
Okay.
Go on.
I was gonna say, is it Sonic Blitz and how it just came and went?
No, it's not Sonic Blitz. And besides, we still got more to
Yeah.
see with that. Like obviously, like with the mobile game kind of service it's trying to be, there's naturally going to be further development. So it's on a low boil, Sonic Blitz, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really too confident in Sega's like mobile game output lately. Like Blitz might just stay where it's staying. I don't know if it's gonna get
Yeah,
It just might stay in the
Rumble.
Philippines.
global release.
Well, yeah, the next thing I wanted to kind of talk
Yeah.
about was Rumble, because we don't have much news other than the fact that there was a new update this morning which added some other cosmetics to the game. I don't know if it added... I think it added a couple of other run acts that I haven't had the chance to try, so I
believe there was a City Escape one. I was watching Dave Ace's stream earlier.
How is it? What's it like?
I only caught like the end of it where it was kind of like you just had to you had like two rows of platforms and it's almost like that Squid Game shit where if you miss it you just kind of fall through, but then you just respawn like on the last platform you were on. It's really weird. So
Given that you play the game a fair little bit, I guess, right? Like, I have a bit of a take here. I think the biggest issue with desync in that game, as Dave has often mentioned, is in the team battles. Or like the team stuff where it's like, not necessarily squad mode, but where you are just put into a team battle. You know the ones I mean, like putting the balls in the holes.
Yeah.
And the fucking...
it's either that or like anytime that you need to like actually attack other players, like or grab items, that's when the issues start popping up.
Really, because I've only ever really experienced it in the team ones, and I was just thinking, if it meant the game would get released sooner, would I happily sacrifice the team stuff? And my answer would be yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the team stuff is some of my least favorite parts of the game, because the thing is, the game up until that point is largely skill-based. It is largely on you. Like, if you win the race, you win the race fair and square. If you lose the race, you lose the race fair and square. You know, it's on you to perform. On the team stuff, you can get times when your team is filled out with bots. You can get times when the players are really just there to collect emblems and they're not really interested in doing the stuff. So you can get times when your teammates are just not performing, or maybe they have desync, and then you can be eliminated for something that is not your own fault. So I'm just like, you know what, I'd be quite happy for them to either put those on a slow boil and just release the game without them, or just shelve them. I can live without them. Especially that football challenge that's in, or the soccer ball challenge in the City Escape one, which I'm just like, this doesn't even have anything to do with the game mechanically.
I can kind of agree with that. I've had times where, you know, I've been eliminated because of stuff that was like outside of my control.
Yeah, like sometimes
I feel like you're always gonna kind of oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say you go first.
Okay. Well, I've been playing a little bit. I actually haven't picked up Rumble in a couple weeks, just because I haven't needed to, or I just haven't wanted to really. Like, but the squads mode, which is what I'm assuming you're talking about.
No, I'm not talking about squads.
At the mercy. Oh, you're not. Oh
no. I'm just talking.
It's like any team like event that they have you do.
Yeah. So when you're on just the regular ring battle, it can be that, you know, you got the different types. You've got the,
okay.
Yeah, you've got like the ring battle. You've got the run acts and stuff like that. Sometimes you'll end up on one called team, and that could just, you know, you will be put into a random team. So it's not like squads. And I'm just like, I could happily sacrifice that. I could just not do that and then just have...
Squads is kind of the same, but like it's across the entire run that you're doing.
Yeah,
so,
but you at least sign up
sometimes
for that.
Where it's like, yeah, that's true. At least you like choose it. Yeah, maybe
like
if
when
they
you're
like
playing
have like,
any
a mode where it's like just team mode or something, then
when
that
you're
would be
playing
different. Yeah.
any squad/team based video game, you're going into that game with the understanding that you're relying on your other team members and stuff. Whereas when you're just going into like a single player thing, if suddenly team mode comes up, it's like, well, everything I've done so far could be in vain because all I need is for a couple of people to just not pull their weight, you know? And it can also just be because they are still filling these things out with quite a few bots at the moment. So, yeah, that's not amazing. But they've got a new billing system, so I tried something new. All right, I tried something new. I tried Rumble Plus. It's only like $3. So I was like, yeah, let's give Rumble Plus a go. I'd like to, you know, unlock some more characters along the way and see what happens, you know? And I'm going to say this right now. Don't buy it. Don't buy Rumble Plus. There is no point in buying Rumble Plus.
Even doubling your ring capacity for 24 hours?
Yeah, but that's it, you know? And even then, the doubling of the ring capacity is, like, negligible when you consider that that only applies to the rings that you would collect in a game. You could still get a fuck ton of rewards from the different, like, season pass thingies that are free. Like, you'll still end up with a lot of rings. The reason I was kind of into it was like, okay, you get, I think, 10 Omni fragments a day, and it's like, you know, you need... When unlocking, like, other characters, it's got, like, a fragment system. I'm explaining this mostly for the audience sake, but it's like, you'll see, like, you know, you want to unlock Pirate Shadow or something, you need to collect 500 Pirate Shadow fragments and stuff. But it's like, if you buy Omni fragments, you can substitute those, effectively. So you can get the character you want. And I was just like, okay, well, getting like 10 Omni fragments a day will be good, because they've got that claw free prize thing, and on average, it's like, yay, I got one fragment. Only 499 to go, you know? So I thought, you know, 10 Omni fragments seems reasonable enough. I'm now at the end of the month, and I don't have anywhere near enough Omni fragments to buy anyone. But the Omni fragments I do have, I've been warned, are about to expire. So
Yeah,
that
your Omni
doesn't-
fragments only work for that season.
yeah, so you can't save them up and get something after a couple of months. So it's like, okay, you're guaranteed to get 10 Omni fragments a day for a month.
Right.
And that's like what? So 10 times 3 is 300. You're going to have characters that are near to like completion to do that, and it's like you're not going to have those. So
Right.
Rumble Plus right now as it stands is a complete waste of money, and I don't recommend it. If you've got a character you want to buy, by all means buy an Omni Fragment pack and you'll probably save money that way. Like
Yeah. God, I think
Well,
it's
it
funny
depends
you
on-
call me a Hollywood elite, and meanwhile you're spending $3 on a free game.
oh, $3
Yeah.
versus 400 on a fucking console you complained about up until its launch.
I did not complain about it. I didn't complain
You
about the
so
console price.
Yeah,
complained.
I
Trey
complained.
was like, you know what? I'm not buying.
I'm not buying the Switch 2. The tariffs
No,
might be an issue.
I complained. I
Also, this is
complained about the game
guys, everybody.
prices.
This is what happens when rich people
Yeah.
notice that us poor people bought a Starbucks one time. God forbid I want a coffee.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
How
You
is
know,
it
it's the
that
same
no?
thing.
I
You
was
bought
saying that
Starbucks,
that's
I bought
I was
mediocre
saying that
coffee.
argument is bullshit
yeah.
anyway. People should be
Yeah.
allowed to have little luxury items even if they're poor.
Oh,
That's
it's
what
like,
I'm
oh
saying.
look,
Well, no,
the
like-
poors, they're buying mediocre coffee.
I've said this. It's
He
never
sits
been
atop
really
his
the price of
iron
the
throne
console.
and says, "You want
It's
the
never been
money
the
I've
price of
got?
the console.
You want my
It's been
Nintendo
the price
Switch?
of the games.
You shouldn't have bought that
games have been.
Starbucks coffee."
Now,
games
excuse
have
me
been-
while I go open up booster packs for Pokemon. Oh, you wish you could have these as well.
Excuse me while I buy the
Mhm.
Nintendo Switch 2 welcome tour.
You know what sucks about that game? I haven't bought it, but you apparently have to have a 4K like TV with 120 hertz on it in order to like 100% the welcome tour of the Nintendo Switch 2,
Why?
which is crazy.
Wait. Do
Because
you
they
need
have some
both?
mini games.
Do you need them both at the same time?
I'm just gonna say, if
think
you
so, yeah.
bought the Nintendo Switch 2 welcome tour, you deserve to be paywalled at every turn. You deserve
true.
for it to
I
be
didn't do that.
to
And-
100% that game. You have to bankrupt yourself to prove your loyalty to Nintendo.
I mean, some people do.
Yeah,
Some people do.
I didn't do that. And
Yeah, because
That's
you got
true.
money to spare,
That's
you
true.
wealthy Hollywood elite.
Well, I mean, because he's still
No,
here with
I
his
didn't have-
fancy audio equipment and
He's got
everything.
it- Oh yes, he's had to spend the extra
Yeah.
money on the fancy audio. But don't worry, I've still
I didn't
got
buy the
my
welcome
10K
tour, and I didn't buy
savings.
and I did not buy Mario Kart World for $80. I got the bundle, and I wanted the Switch 2 console anyways because Metroid Prime 4, Donkey Kong Bonanza, like, can't wait for those. Actually, those are actually going to be sick as hell.
Oh, look at me, I'm talking about my
Oh, look
Nintendo
at me!
Switch
I'm
again.
bumping. I can't just be
He
happy.
also
for
bought
my
Sonic
friend.
X Shadow
Oh.
Generations because he didn't care about the fact that you can't. There's no
There is
upgrade path
no
for it.
such
I
thing
did not buy. I
as
did not
being
buy.
He will
happy
spare
for
no
other people. It
expense.
doesn't exist. And I'm not even going to pretend.
I did
He will
not. I
just-
did not buy.
He will drop all the money possible
didn't.
because he can.
He
No, I
can. He's got it.
No.
He has his offshore bank accounts in the Cayman Islands.
He thinks he's him.
Can we not talk about this while the IRS is probably on this? No, I'm kidding.
No. Well, I mean, it's okay. You'll get some big tax break. Who cares?
Yeah, they'll give you. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
and besides, even if they charge you, you'll still have money to spare.
You'll get a slap on the wrist.
Regardless.
Come on.
What else? What else are we talking about? I know we were talking about Rumble.
Okay, we got
Um,
one more thing, but we know that Trey's not going to care because he can afford it. So the Sonic Racing Crossworlds
Whatever.
price tag. Obviously we had a teeny
Oh,
weeny
God.
little bit
Ridiculous.
about this at the end of the last episode, but like we still weren't quite sure what that entailed. I think Dylan thought the $90 price tag was for the limited run edition.
Oh my
You
God.
stupid bitch. No. So, right. Where do I start? So I thought it was kind of
Unlike
cool.
other kart racers.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool that like Izuka and Sonic Team and Sega's social media and all that were kind of going at this as like, ha, that Mario Kart has there's some rough stuff in there, huh? You know, like it's not all great. You know, you want a game all of you can play and afford. You know, this is the one. This is the racer of the people. And it's like, oh, okay, how much is it? $70. I'm like, for a kart racer.
Yeah.
You got to be shitting me.
It's $70 for all current gen. It's $60 for the Switch 1 version.
The thing is,
and there is going to be a Nintendo Switch 2 version.
Yes, Trey, we know you got a Switch 2 ready to go when
Trey,
it releases.
the Switch 2. Now,
I got
the
PC.
Switch 1
I was going to get it on PC
for the pores.
That's true. I was going to get it on the Switch 1 just to represent the pores, and then I'll give them $3 for their next Starbucks coffee and Sonic Rumble Plus subscription.
I am curious because, like, this is the first time, at least in my recollection, that the Switch version of a game got a price cut. Because usually they go hand in hand with the other versions.
I have a theory,
you know?
and
like
I have a theory, and I think it's bad. I think it's very bad news because the thing is, I'm seeing people saying, "Yeah, I'm just gonna get the Switch 1," and I'm just like, I don't think you want to do that.
Path.
Because I think what's going to happen is it's going to release and it's going to be a very mild attempt at porting it. But I think it's going to be borked to high fuck. Like, it will be a borked ass game.
Yeah.
And then it's like, by the time you've paid for the Switch 2 upgrade, because you'll want it, you'll be playing it, it'll be locked at 30 frames per second if it stays that way. And you'll be like, this ain't it. This ain't the way to experience this game. And it'll be like, better upgrade. Yep. And then by the time you've upgraded, you probably will have spent more than you would have if you just bought the standard edition on any other console.
You might not get that upgrade.
Yeah,
they might not have an upgrade path for you. You're gonna have to get one of those game key cards.
They don't have an upgrade path. That's so stupid. The the fact that Sonic Shadow Generations does not have an upgrade path is like asinine to me, because it's not like they don't know how to do it. They've done it before. They did it with Frontiers with the PS4 and the PS5.
What about the Puyo Puyo Tetris 2? Isn't that also like on Switch 1, but has no upgrade path for Switch 2? Because I know that's a bit of an older game. That's not brand new or anything.
I will say, though, and this doesn't excuse it, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 isn't really demanding, so you're not really going to tell that much of a difference, and I think it still ran at 60 on the original.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice to just pay like the extra $5 or $10 to get whatever upgrade additions that they have with it, since you already own the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clearly just another way of rinsing a little extra money out, and it's very transparent, and I hope this doesn't get normalized. Trey, do your bit. Because otherwise...
And surprisingly, Nintendo's not the one doing that. It's Sega.
I've seen, the thing is, though, I've seen a lot of Sonic fans being like, I don't care, I'm going to play the game, it looks peak and stuff. And it's like, right, dummies. Sure, but the thing is, if it keeps going down this path, if we keep making excuses because, I just couldn't control myself this time, I guarantee you, 10 years from now, games will be $200.
I think the biggest thing, and first of all, I'm not appreciative of being clumped in with these people that just spend like thousands of dollars and were complaining, because I didn't buy Mario Kart World for $80. I got the bundle. There's a difference.
You bought it for $90.
In the series finale of Sunset City, Trey finally reconciles with the fact that he's upper middle class.
No, I'm not any.
Trey finally reconciles the fact that he's in the 5%, not the 1%, but the 5%.
You're insane. Just because I have a Switch 2. It's on credit.
Frank,
I didn't
did you
buy
hear
it all
that?
at once.
Frank,
it's on credit. I'm building my credit while buying the Switch 2.
Oh, look at me. I don't get denied for credit cards. Oh.
Why are you getting denied for credit cards? That's your problem. That's not mine. That's not poor.
I can tell you why, but Webster knows why, because I've actually had quite a chat with him about this. I had a default after they sold one of my debts. This was ages ago. Back in like 2017. Right. They sold a credit card debt I had without me knowing about it, without notifying me. So I didn't know to pay, and I called this company up several times wanting to pay off my debts. Only on like the 5th call was I told the debt had been sold. And so by that point, I defaulted by a few months. And it was like, this will stay on your credit score until 2025. I'm like, Wow. Okay, so I'm just
Oh,
getting
hey,
declined.
it's going away this year.
Yeah, it's going away this year, but now I'm looking at my credit score, and it's just stuck up fair the whole time, and I'm just like, this is bullshit. Not to mention, there's several completely
That is
external
bullshit.
factors that can impact a credit score as well. Like, I've got a buddy of mine who, like, he's not in any kind of financial dire straits or anything, and his credit score just plummeted for absolutely no fucking reason. And then it went back up the next month, but it's like, it can happen. So up a 5%, Trey. 5%. Oh.
Shut up.
That's okay. It's
Not
okay.
true.
Usually people end up in that situation because they spend money on like gacha games or something.
Right. Usually people get in that situation when they spend money on a free game.
The worst thing ever was, okay, you gotta forgive me for this. It was 2014, okay? I spent like £50 on in-game currency for Family Guy: The Quest for Stuff.
Yeah, no, you're part of the problem. Look, I know I pay for Fortnite Crew, but I actually play the game, and my cosmetics stick around. And, okay, I'm not any better.
They were having an
Actually,
American Dad crossover, and I wanted to get all the American Dad stuff in there.
Look,
Actually, the
here's
real
the thing.
conversation we should be having is the fact that Pup paid $50 for some cosmetics in a game
In
that I've never heard about.
2014. In 2014.
But now, that's become normalized because of your actions back then. So that's why we're paying $80 now for games.
Yeah, Pup.
You know,
he's got a point.
so I
that
think-
actually,
so I think
you are the
yeah.
problem.
Okay,
Yeah, you're
look,
the problem. It's on
Mental
you.
Health Day is on the third Friday of every month, so save the gymnastics for then.
Mental Health Day does not mean that you just spend $50 on a mobile title. Okay,
And,
you're not
and
gonna
mental
get
health
like,
doesn't mean that you're doing cardio with your mind. All right, that's not health.
It was 2014. It was 2014.
And look where we're at now, Pup.
All right,
Look where we're at
okay,
now with the
Dark
gaming
Side
climate.
Pup. You're gonna spend fucking $50 on a mobile game.
Yeah, and look where we're gonna
Yeah.
be because of
then
your
you're gonna
decisions.
complain
Look
Trey.
where we're at now.
Look where we're going to be.
You're eating at the same table that I am. What are you talking about? You're a part of this
Dark
problem
side.
as much as I am.
Dark Side Pup.
I
Fucking-
did nothing wrong. I did everything correctly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well,
anyways,
the only
Complaining about
incorrect.
America constantly.
I do want to move back to one little thing though. So
Okay.
obviously we have discussed. I mean, I'm not opposed to buying it in its base price myself, purely because I'm a content creator. It's part of my job, and it ends up being a tax write-off as well. So there you go. I'd be dumb not to. But the thing is, I don't like that price being normalized myself at all.
No.
I'd ideally like to get a review copy. We'll see. But then also there's like there is that digital deluxe, which I'm just saying straight up, not buying that at all.
God.
Never. Do not catch me dead buying the digital deluxe of Sonic Racing Crossworlds. So here's the thing. It's not like your typical digital deluxe, and I guess the price for this digital deluxe could be fair were it not for one aspect. So the way this works is you're getting the season pass in with the game, effectively. And season passes just mean you will get every bit of DLC that drops. I got a season pass for Batman Arkham Knight back in the day. Come at me, Trey. Fucking come at me. Arkham Knight was a peak game.
Part of the problem.
Yeah, part of the problem.
The season pass
Yeah.
was
Mario Kart World's a
justified
big
in that
game.
instance.
No.
Mario Kart- paid game. What do you mean season pass? That's crazy.
Pup is the reason why we have quadruple A games from Ubisoft.
Then you want to ride the 7 Seas in the best card game ever played, though? Is that not something you want to do?
No, I'm good.
Thank you.
Fair enough. They
I'll
made a
save my
much
money.
better. They made a much better pirate game in 2013, and they just made it worse.
I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying as well, Zero Chaos. 3 days early is an additional perk. Unless you're on Nintendo systems. So if you're one of those suckers, Trey, who bought a Nintendo Switch 2, don't be one of those suckers, Trey,
Dude,
who buys the digital deluxe on it.
Pup. The guy's got like a $3,000 computer or something. I'm pretty sure he's just gonna drop money on that version with his $150
first I
controller,
gotta upgrade my graphics
And
card, of
two-
course.
his $300 keyboard and mouse
I need my new
combination.
peripherals with my rainbow colors.
And I want to say this first and foremost. I've been on. What was it? What is it?
PCMR.
I've been on record. I've been on record saying that you should stand on business and that you shouldn't like support these terrible business practices. I don't think anything that I've done has contradicted that at all. Yes, I paid for a Switch 2, but I didn't pay $80 for Mario Kart World. That's insane. Mario Kart World's a great game. It's not $80 worth. And same thing with Crossworlds. I honestly think I'm gonna have a good time with Crossworlds, but like considering the problems that, Pup had on beta and everything, not saying they haven't fixed it, but it hasn't even been that long either. Like,
Call me a fucking beta.
it's not
I can't
70.
believe this.
It's
Deal
not
with it.
$70 though.
Just deal with it, okay?
It's not-
Pup, accept the truth.
I was saying in a video that I kind of did on it that like $70 would be kind of a hard sell even for like Sonic Adventure 3. But it's like,
Oh, for sure. Well, it's a hard sell because, well, for one, this is Sonic's first $70 game, and it's a racing spinoff. Like, come on! Are you kidding me? Like, that's insane to me.
To stop the actuallys, it's $70 game without any kind of digital deluxe edition, okay?
Yeah, it's just base game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Digital deluxe is 90. Don't buy digital deluxe if you've known
Oh my
anything
God.
in the past about digital deluxe stuff.
I love when all the Sonic fans were like, yeah, they're taking shots at Nintendo, and then the price comes out and everyone's pissed. And I was like,
like the
And, like,
full,
the
the
sit
full
back and expect
version
good
of
day.
the game with all its DLC ends up costing more than Mario Kart World is insane to me. But it's also just like, what's in these DLCs then? We know that the free DLCs are going to be things like Sega characters. And I'm going to be honest, that's what I'm there for. Sonic and the Sega characters. The, things like Minecraft are going to be in, like, that season pass. And it's like, so the implication is, I could, if I didn't buy the season pass, I could choose to get a DLC I'm interested in. Let's say they did, like, a DC DLC. I don't know if that's going to happen, but let's say they did. I
It's
could
not
get that.
happening.
I mean, it could.
It could.
It could, like...
But yeah, in theory, yes, you
Yeah.
could just pick and choose the DLC that you want.
Yeah.
But eventually, if you say only exclude maybe 1 or 2 packs, you're probably gonna end up paying the same amount of money that you would if you just bought.
Well, the other thing I was kind of thinking though is obviously you can buy the season pass after the fact as well. I think, but also it's just like if it is the difference between a couple of bucks still, like I would rather not pay extra for shit I don't want. I don't give a fuck about Minecraft, and like, like some of these other rumored DLCs, it's all fine and dandy. It's stuff I'd probably maybe enjoy playing, but it's not why I bought Sonic Crossworlds. I bought Sonic Crossworlds because I want Sonic and Sega stuff, and these other IPs are things that I can give or take. So it's an easy decision for me to just go for the regular standard edition. But what I'm going to say right now is justice for Whisper Wolf, aka Harley, the one Sonic Prime fan. And I don't say that with any disrespect at all, by the way. Because, like, obviously, what I was basically just getting at is I feel bad for Sonic Prime fans, because it does have a fan base. There are people that love Sonic Prime, and those Sonic Prime characters are locked behind the $90 digital deluxe. Meaning that they
oh my God,
won't necessarily have a chance to get those Prime characters later on just for cheap. They're gonna have to fork out the full kit and caboodle just for those Sonic Prime characters. So you might have someone who's a Sonic Prime fan who fucking hates Minecraft, who fucking hates whatever other mystery IPs might be in this game that definitely haven't leaked, so don't go looking for it. They might not care about any of that stuff. They just want those Sonic Prime skins. Alright, extra $20, please. Like, oh man, that sucks. That sucks. That's such a hard sell.
That's the nickel and diming that I've been saying before. And like I've been looking at the comments and everything. And the thing is that I don't think I ever said I wasn't ever going to buy a Switch 2, period. I was gonna say I was gonna get it eventually, but I had an opportunity to get it on launch day, and I was like, you know what? I do have the extra funds for it.
Can I give
Why
you the
not?
all seriousness version of this real quick?
Sure.
I am bantering you. At the end of the day, what other people
No,
do
I
with
know.
their... No, I know. I just
I'm not-
let
yeah.
me finish a second because I think it's important for the audience to understand this as well. Whatever someone, be it Trey or whatever, does with their money is absolutely none of my business and is absolutely free from any kind of actual judgment from me. And if I were in a position where I was desperate to try out games like Mario Kart and Donkey Kong and stuff like that. If I was a Nintendo fan and I had the money, I wouldn't blame myself for not thinking about that much, you know? Like, it's, it costs what it costs. The console's price itself is actually perfectly standard, I'd say. But there is obviously, like, protesting against, like, the Mario Kart World thing. Naturally, I would encourage people to, if they don't like the price tag of something, don't buy it. And what Trey has actually done
your wallet.
is he's found a version of that he is willing to pay, because there is the bundle. And yeah, $50 for Mario Kart World. It's the hot ticket item of that console.
It's worth it for that. It absolutely, in my opinion, Mario Kart World's a great game. It's not $80 worth it, but it's $50 worth it for sure. And like, I feel like we've kind of stressed this point a lot, but I wanted to make it, because I've been very passionate about people voting with their wallet and standing on business and stuff like that. I think people are a lot of like, I think there's a lot of nuance to it when it comes to, like, for me, it's like, I'm not paying $80 for a game, and that's still going to be the case. I'm going to get Crossroads when it's on sale, unless like someone like gives it to me or something like that. And that's how I've always been about Sonic games that I don't like. I happen to own a lot of them. They're gifted to me by my parents or whoever.
Yeah, the other thing I was also going to say, though, is, like, obviously, I've made my own little points that might be interpreted as, this is what you should do, or whatever. These are ultimately suggestions. What the point just boils down to is, if you really don't like the price, don't pay it. And I know that there's a lot of people that don't like the price and will pay with gritted teeth. And it's like, I think that mentality needs to go. And also, like, my frustration at the general narrative and how it's suddenly shifted with the actual sales it comes from a perspective of just being frustrated at the world generally, and just being frustrated at my own situation. Well, and
I think it's also a case, where we are all kind of in a bubble when it comes to like Twitter and fandom discourse and stuff like that. And like Nintendo, they're like a lifestyle company that happens to make like video games. Their reach is way beyond just like the internet and stuff like that. Like, there's people buying this for their families, you know? Like, I will say, people are like, and I'm not going to say that anyone can't be excited for this, but people are excited about like the Xbox ROG Ally, like little handheld that's coming out. And I think that's even a worse waste of money, because
my
the
response to that
Ally
was... Go on.
Yeah. Well, the original ROG Ally is $900, and I can't imagine this Xbox version is going to come anywhere close to Switch 2 console prices, despite them being very, very similar.
Not me having to use an ROG Ally to be on the podcast one week.
Yeah.
I borrowed my.
So, anyways, guys, my name is Trey Nobles, and I bought an ROG Ally.
my overall response to that, though, was like, Xbox, you're still going? You're still doing this? The thing is also, like, the Xbox Series S is probably, like, the best way to, like, if you're on a tight budget, just experience, like, the next generation of gaming. You won't get any amazing exclusives or anything like that, but it's like, if you just want to experience some new-gen games, like, maybe you want to try Cyberpunk or something, then an Xbox Series S will do the trick, and it's very affordable compared to others.
Go with a Series X, get yourself some used games.
Yeah. I mean, physical media is also always going to be a more affordable thing. But, like, yeah. So, yeah, ultimately, remember, also, like, everybody, like, because I've noticed, like, people in the chats maybe kind of not, like, dragging Trey a little bit, but, like, Trey's here because he's our buddy. If I was, like, legitimately mad at him over something like that, I would have been rightfully called out. And I'm not. I just want him to accept that he's a wealthy 1%er. I just want him to admit it. Okay, is your bank balance in the minus?
No.
Is your bank balance in the minus?
No, it's in the majors.
No?
Well, there you go. You are in the 1%. No. You're in the 1%.
There's still a few more. There's still a few more zeros at the end of it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I got 6 digits. It's in the minuses, but I got them.
Also, I think a lot of people have to understand that, like, just like what Pup said, a lot of this is people's jobs. And, like, you kind of, like, have to buy this kind of stuff in order to, like, keep content going and afloat and stuff like that. Not saying you can't deviate, but
The other
A
thing
lot
I'd
of
say,
audiences
God I
will see, like,
chose-
the newest thing.
Thank God I chose to do that.
the other thing I'd say as well,
Right.
is I say, don't accept prices you don't like. And I hate the look of a big tax bill more than I hate the look of Sonic Racing Crosswords myself. So, it is a business expense on my end. And
Also, do
I
not
would
buy
rather
from limited run games.
even if I don't like even if I don't like supporting this business practice of Sega's, I'll support it before I support the fucking government. And before you say, "Oh, but what about your services?" They don't invest that shit in services. Get real.
Trey, I like your last one.
Oh yeah, don't buy anything from limited run. Yeah, because not only
Yeah,
do you
talk about that
spend a
real
lot
quick.
of money, but you also wait like a year and a half to 2 years to even get the thing.
And the
if
quality
that.
is not what it used to be.
Yeah, I think if they're charging that
Dude.
much, you should get it early, if anything. Like,
If you're charging $200, like I should be able to get it either day and day or within a week, not a year and
Well,
a half.
They go off of that weird model where they have to get the number of pre-orders for it first, and then start getting it in production, which is
No, I don't want to make to order thing. Just make it and then I'll
That's
order.
pretty much what it
Don't
is.
make to order. No, that's stupid. Like I'm sorry. Like imagine if game consoles were like that. If I paid like $450, $500 for a console, and then they were like, "All right, you're gonna get it in like 3 years."
all I'll
It's
say
like,
is,
no.
if you want an ornament so badly, Jack's Pacific sell Sonic action figures for like $11.
Yeah.
They're way more fun. You can pose them. You can have a display with hundreds of fucking characters.
You know what's insane? You can buy a legitimate Dreamcast and buy 2 Sonic action figures and put them on top of that
I
Dreamcast
just said
for
that
much
when
less.
It came out.
For much less.
Yeah, just but
Much
even
less
if, even
than
if you
the
buy like
collector's edition.
even if you buy like a broken Dreamcast, like you could just use
Yeah,
that
no,
as an
you don't
ornament.
even play it.
No,
You can get
that's a good idea. Dreamcast.
Yeah.
If the disc drive doesn't work, you put in one of those. What do they call it?
Oh, like disc drive emulator things. Yes.
Yeah,
like those,
you put in one of those, load it up with some games, you're good to go.
Or make it so
Or even
you
if
can
it's
like
just
the
decoration.
the mechanism in there.
Even if
Sit Sonic and
Yeah.
Shadow on top of a disc and watch them spin.
Well, I
And
mean, the
then-
disc might not spin.
And then
But
wait
turn the Dreamcast into a vinyl and just play Life Could Be a Dream. Put them on top of your set.
Turn your Dreamcast into a toaster. Take toaster components out of the toaster and put it in the Dreamcast and make
Also-
toast with your Dreamcast.
Just don't burn your
Also,
house
put-
down.
Put Shenmue inside the Dreamcast, and then the only way that you can play is if you turn the Dreamcast upside down, and then boom, you're able to play Shenmue. Perfect.
Do fighting moves on the Dreamcast. Turn Dreamcast into internet router and punch.
Do the Daigo
repeatedly.
parry on top. Do the Daigo parry on
Daigo
top of the
parry.
Dreamcast.
Set your Nintendo Dreamcast on fire and bin it.
Yeah, put a battery on a stone. Call that Power Stone. You know what I'm saying? Put
the
a
Dreamcast!
clown
But
in a
It
car.
burns!
Call that Crazy Taxi. You know what I'm saying?
We put a
Run
brainstorm and
over your
ideas.
neighbor's child in a yellow vehicle. For real.
I mean,
Crazy Taxi.
if you really want crazy Power Stone, you could just get the new Capcom fighting game collection.
I'm-
That's true. That's true.
I heard that.
I do need to still get that.
I heard that on
It's
set
pretty
of,
cool.
On set of Suicide Squad, Jared Leto was so in the role as the Joker that to him, Crazy Taxi became regular Taxi.
Oh. Very, very scary.
Very scary.
Very scary.
Well,
Very
we've got,
scary.
we do have another fairly major topic now, and it is one that I think is like the main reason I asked Tom to be on the show, other than the fact
Yeah,
that he's
yeah, you told me before this.
largely a silent boy, which means he's unintrusive.
I'm sorry, I just don't have much to say a lot of the time. Sorry.
Tom, tell the class about your background in animation.
I don't have one.
Yes, you do. You do animations and shit.
No, I don't.
Guys, he's a
Wait,
phony.
don't-
A
your
great big phony.
This guy's
I mean-
a great
Don't-
big
don't-
phony.
Wait, don't animations usually have backgrounds on them anyways? Like, we could just talk about that.
Shut up,
Look.
Trey. Shut
I've
your
seen some.
goddamn mouth.
I've seen a couple Disney movies. I think I know a thing or two about animation.
Yeah.
It's when the 2D.
At best, I've made animatics. Pretty much.
That's still better than nothing. Like,
you
that's
helped
still...
me make a run cycle one time, and that was quite fun.
Yeah, because I know the theory behind animation.
Oh,
it's just
so
I
he has
don't
a
done
bit
it
of a
myself.
background in animation then. He
Well, there
knows
you
the
go.
theory. You fucking idiot. Just say about that
Okay.
then.
It's like the 12 rules of animation.
You helped
or
them
something.
paint the white fence.
Yeah, Tom Sawyer.
No, I'm not one of those. I'm not.
Fuck you mean one
Yeah,
of
go
those?
back to your band, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Oh, this sucks.
Anyway,
This really
anyways.
sucks.
Well, yeah, we had some quite major...
I'm sorry.
I just hate how little this guy cooperates. This guy fucking sucks. So we had.
What do you want me to say?
Why did you just say yes? Here's what I know about animation. I like animation.
You want me to just drawling in a?
I don't know. Maybe I thought
littering
you
off-
could, give us some insightful stuff about how like I think Sonic animation is rarely very good. Something along those lines.
You told me tell the class your history in animation, and I said I don't really have one.
Just stuff that you know. You learn it. You learned it. You know how to do it.
This is the equivalent. So, this is the equivalent of bringing in, teaching a class. You brought in the TV because you really don't want to teach them, so you'll play something on it, and now it's not working.
This is literally like you can't do it on command. Come on, Tom.
And
say
now
something
that-
insightful and educated.
Wait, so
And you're
okay.
you're more committed to this than actually wanted to go back to teach.
Let me start this off. So Tom, why do you think Sonic animation has been lacking?
Well, thank you, Trey, for the inquisitive question. Now let's get into business.
Well,
So,
let's
He has
do
to be
it.
such a dick about it, doesn't he? This is what happens if I don't hurt him.
yeah, funny that.
This is why I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
So you say.
proceed.
Receive. It's just, I think the main problem really is just the fact that they, I guess, just looking at Frontier specifically in general, I guess it's a lot of linear motion, especially with the camera. They don't ease things a lot. Just
What would
kind
you
of
say-
You're
stiff.
talking about that yeah.
What would you say are examples of shitty animation in Sonic games? Like, what games come to mind? And what are the
Forces.
things that...
Forces.
Yep, I agree
Forces immediately comes to
I'm
mind.
universally with you on that.
God.
Now, talk us through it. Why does Forces animation not work?
Linear. Very linear. But they've got the ease, they got the like overshoots. They just don't ease them correctly. They're just very
what is that?
linear.
What is it? Explain it.
Okay, right. Well, an overshoot is, say you're moving your arm forward and it goes like from point A to point B. An overshoot is where when it gets to point B, you'd make it go over a little bit and then back to the place it wants to in a quick motion to make it look like it's jerking forward instead
Giving
of just
the character
linearly
a
going
slight
forward.
sense of like elasticity and a sense of weight, I guess.
Indeed, yes, pup. Well done. Yes.
Look, there are things where I don't know the terminology. I've animated things too, but I don't know any of the wording. If someone asked me, what are you doing at this point, I'd be like, I'm doing the big fastizio. Like, I don't know what the fuck any of this is.
Working on the Grand Chapel, I am.
I'm making on the big animate. Like,
Yeah.
alright, and what about the easing? Can you explain that stuff? I'm
Okay, well,
taking notes right now as I animate things.
Really? Okay.
No,
Okay.
I'm not you doing that.
Well, a linear motion is that if you put something on a timeline, you've got point A, and then later on the timeline, you've got point B. If it's a linear motion, it will move at the same speed constantly from point A to point B in a very straight single motion.
No
If you
momentum
ease
or
it,
inertia, right?
no, absolutely nothing. It's just robotic. It's robotic is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And then if you ease it, so like say you ease in, it'll slowly go in, and then it will speed up as it gets towards the end. Or if you ease out, it'll do the opposite effect.
Of course.
So it makes it look smoother, and then you do that with some overshoot and overlap, and then you've got some nice much smoother motion.
Yes.
There is also other minor stuff like make sure you animate stuff in arcs so that it looks appealing and that, but that's just other stuff.
How would you say
Yeah,
Sonic has over the recent years kind of conformed to the principles of animation?
They're learning. They are learning. I mean, I kind of hope they learned a bit sooner, but you know they're getting there.
The thing is, I kind of did, because like Shadow the Hedgehog has quite a few of the principles, as does
Yeah, it does. That's the thing, though. They did know it,
Rise
and then
of
they
Lyric is
forgot
right
it.
there. Riders is there.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
guess
don't know how much Big Red Button did on Rise of because that might have been Big Red Button doing that. I don't know who did the animation for Rise of Lyric, so that could have been a different studio doing the animation.
I think it was Big Red Button that
Okay,
pretty much helmed the
then yeah, that's
development
the
of it.
thing.
with
Yeah.
Frontiers,
Big Red Button.
interestingly, there are
And
some.
like,
Go on.
oh, I was just gonna say, Big Red Button, I think, came from. I think they were both either Naughty Dog or Insomniac employees or something, like a studio made of like that sector of like gaming. And if you see like, if you see like Spyro or Crash 4 or even like the Spider-Man games, like they know what they're doing, So it's not surprising that Big Red Button kind of knows how to like make things appealing from an animation perspective.
There are also like some cutscenes in like Frontiers, for example, are better than others. Like there are some cutscenes that are just bone idle awful. There are some cutscenes that are about what you'd expect from a recent Sonic game. And then there are others where it's like you can see glimmers start to come through. I think the one where Sonic first confronts Giganto before going Super is one of the better animated ones, and I know that Marza Animation Planet were brought on to animate some of the stuff for Sonic Frontiers. A lot of other stuff was just kind of carried over from Sonic Forces and stuff like that. So like Frontiers obviously has a very mixed bag of animation, but none of it particularly special. Because they're still kind of going for a grounded approach to how like Sonic and stuff move. It's like why they got rid of things like the muzzle curve and stuff like that. It's because those are cartoonier elements, and they want to have more of a marriage between realism and cartoon, I guess.
I think.
And I think there is like the whole thing with the discussion online about that as well. So I'll speak after it's straight. It's just there is that whole discussion online going on as well about the whole the fans of the series don't want it to be too cartoony, even though he came from like this rubber hose. That's where he was based off of from the first place. But it's a bit more to it than that, because it's not that I don't think people don't want it to be cartoony overall. It's just that you need to find the correct balance between cartoony and realism for this series in particular. It's not full-on rubber hose, but it's not realistic.
The animation of Sonic Prime, for example.
I think for what it was going for, I haven't seen Prime because I know that I'm not going to like it, so I have actually zero interest in watching it. I just not into it. But from what I've seen in the animation, I think for what it's going for, it works perfectly fine. I don't think I could point out many places where it's like, okay, that doesn't look good. Although, I mean, maybe some of the action scenes might be. I mean, I think I've seen a few things where it's like maybe that's a bit stretched a bit too far in that instance, but I can't really think of anything off the top of my head because that is more. Prime feels like it's going for a more rubber hose style compared to the mainline series of games are.
Yeah,
well,
and I think it works.
When I looked at Prime, I thought I would like the games to move more like this at the very least. Like, even though I will admit there are times when like models deform a little incorrectly in Prime, which I don't like very much. Like for the most part, I like that elasticy kind of movement that the Sonic characters have. Sonic is a very kinetic character, so it's cool to really convey some of those very exaggerated movements. Like there is a moment, where he's running away from Big the Cat, and like you could just see his leg stretches beautifully. Like he is just a long boy in that instance. And it's like, I don't really love Sonic Prime from like a writing perspective, but I can certainly say I thought the animation was pretty impressive.
I guess I think a good word to describe the animation is sharp. It gets to each keyframe very quickly. Like each moment, each movement in each action, every movement, it's all very fast and snappy. So it goes for more rubber hosey.
Accounted for, and I do think this does speak to kind of just how misguided Sonic Frontiers' overall art direction was like, would this rubber hosey movement work with Sonic in, say, Sonic Frontiers, a game that's trying to be a bit more somber, a game where Sonic's a bit more thoughtful and stuff like that. Like, they went to the trouble of even deepening his voice a little bit so that he could say certain lines...
A little bit, yeah.
Sincerely. So it's like, would that very cartoony, expressive animation work for a game like that? I would just argue that Sonic Frontiers' visual overall direction just doesn't work full stop. Like,
I think there are more important issues at hand when it comes to artistic direction than the animation in that regard.
And even then, like, there's still instances where it's like they could have fixed this, but it just decide not to, or just, I guess, didn't know how to. Like, even when you're in the air, Sonic still punches and kicks as if he's still on the ground. Like,
also,
there's no like sense of like his weight being taken into account. when throwing these punches, like especially being airborne. You know,
Imagine Sonic
think-
Prime.
yeah.
Imagine Prime Sonic yoinking sploinking his way in with his big sploinky limbs, and then he sits down and goes, "Sup, Amy? Still thinking about the cocoa?" It wouldn't work. Like, but I think, you know, again, that is a problem with what I think Frontiers is trying to do. I think Wayne even made a point in the past where he said he reckons the overall tone of Sonic Frontiers would have hit harder if they didn't do things like deepen the voices. So you do just have Sonic in his regular high-pitched voice being, "Yo, Amy, still thinking about the cocoa?" You know, like, because I guess it's, you know, you're not used to seeing them in that scenario, so if anything hits harder. I don't know if that's exactly how he worded it, but
I don't know if, and this is probably just like, this is probably just because I haven't really seen it yet, but I can't really imagine like Roger in his higher pitched voice sounding serious, and because like the only time we ever see him sound serious in his high pitched voice, ironically, is Lost World, and that just
they're
sounds
gonna
very
turn
hokey.
Tails into a robot. That's horrible.
That's horrible. Like,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
like,
a lot of
I mean,
things not
they're
helping
crowning-
it, but like,
It's not the crowning pinnacle of the series overall of the writing. Let's be real. So I mean,
but Lost World did have its animation going for it and did lean more into that kind of style. So I think it obviously depends from project to project. Frontiers was obviously trying to go for something much more realistic, so they probably took that approach with the animation. But that still doesn't excuse kind of how linear everything could be in that game, and it definitely doesn't excuse cutscenes where it's literally just the characters are both stood in a field, their mouths not even moving, but they're talking to each other. Like, it doesn't
and they
excuse
like
that kind of
turn
thing.
like they're on like a pivot, like a swivel.
Yeah, and that's the
so
kind of
funny.
thing where it's like, you'd be better off just making this look like a text menu, to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
ironically, I would have preferred a text menu. It would have been better.
something like Persona 5, you know, where the characters come up and they got like a little PNG. Have like Evan Stanley or Adam Bryce Thomas illustrated or something. Yuakawa, get him in. But, yeah, no, so, okay, looking more to the future now, though, or kind of the past. Shut up. So, Sonic X Shadow Generations came out recently.
The voices in your head.
Sonic X Shadow Generations came out, and obviously the most notable thing about that was the Shadow Generations portion, with Sonic Generations being left largely untouched for the most part, save for just a few teensy-weensy little pieces here and there, little bits and pieces. But in a recent article, and I think this it's all in Japanese and stuff, but it's on the Autodesk website, and there have been translations and stuff, but I'm mainly in this for like the video demonstrations. They've showcased some new technology that they were experimenting on with Sonic Generations, and that is this new deforming animation, this new deform. It's like a modifier. I think it's like a,
yeah. I think it's like a modifier or shader or something. It's very interesting.
Well, anyways, Sega have been wanting to kind of use this for a little while, I guess. And they've been kind of developing ways to get that into gameplay, effectively. Because obviously, like, you can open up Maya and make a beautiful squash stretch animation, and there you go, there you have it. You can open up Blender, make a beautiful squash stretch animation, and there you have it. But, like, that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work with the framework that they're using to create the game. But you can see parts where they've made recreation. One of the things that they showcased was a recreation of the mirror cutscene from Sonic Generations, where like modern Sonic first meets classic Sonic in that mirror world. And they do kind of show like a before and after where they've got these modifier thingies working. However, they've done this in Unreal Engine rather than Hedgehog Engine 2. Or Hedgehog Engine 1 in the case of like the original Sonic Generations. And we can see this kind of deformation thing in action, and it does contribute to things like the overshooting and stuff like that. Like, Sonic will lean forward, but it won't just be, like, his bones leaning forward like they would. You'll see the whole shape of his body kind of curve forward a little bit, and it will kind of spring backwards and forwards, making those overshoots just that bit more exaggerated. Things that would all be incredibly difficult to do with just a basic rig. And I gotta say, it's put to great effect, and I think it's in that one mirror cutscene, and then there's also another one where they've got modern Sonic running into the Death Egg robot. You could see that, like, those are the best indications of how this is going to look in action. And they look phenomenal. Even down to, like, the lighting of the Unreal Engine 5 as well. That looks incredible, too. But, like, the way Sonic is moving and posing in these cutscenes looks really great. I don't know how much you guys have seen of those, but, like,
I think
have you-
glimpses
I've
of
seen them. Yeah.
And then, there is, of course, the one that's been kind of going around a lot more of Sonic running around, the Whale Lagoon map from Sonic and All-Stars Racing. And he's just running around. And this is one that I think, like, when I first saw it, I was like, it does look a little bit newbie. And I think everyone's pointed out that the squash and stretch is way too much in this. However, that video was made to showcase the technology. It's not supposed to be a perfect animation.
Yeah.
It's supposed to show you this is Sonic being a springy boy. And we even saw kind of how a new jump ball could look effectively using this technology.
Which I
So
did
I'm
like
really-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping we'll see more of that in the next game, but I think this is all a pretty good indication of how Sonic animation is moving forward. And, like, obviously this was all done in Unreal Engine. However, I have good reason to believe that I think they might just do the next Sonic game in Unreal Engine as well. Like, Izuka's talked about wanting to do it. Sonic Racing Crossworlds is in Unreal as well. And, like, we've been seeing lots of animations and bits and pieces coming out from that as well. And I think in terms of just the lighting, yeah, this is some of the best it's ever looked. The animation, it's not as amazing as it is in, say, Shadow Generations, but it's certainly getting there, you know? And I think what we're seeing is kind of the next evolution of that. And it's our best kind of indication at what that next Sonic game could look like. And while I still think we should get new models, like, we really, really should get new models, they are at least trying to find ways to make them look better in the animation process. So I'm pretty excited by everything I'm seeing.
I think it's interesting how in the modern Sonic meeting classic Sonic cutscene, that is Frontier Sonic in that cutscene. So I have every right to believe that that was like a, like an updated kind of model. But he
It
has,
was
like,
Frontier
longer
Sonic,
quills
but
now.
yeah, he's got the longer quills. However, you can see at
Yeah.
the back that the geometry is completely broken. So it looks like what they've done is taken the Forces version and imposed the quills to look longer. Whether that is to make it add up with the scenes
Honestly-
animation, or whether it is they want to move in that direction again, I don't know.
I'd be honest, like I saw a little bit of like the topology or something with like the back of his head looking a little scuffed, but honestly, like that wouldn't be too terribly hard to fix if they
Oh,
were
no.
able to like do it.
It just-
yeah, like yeah, it just looks a little hokey right now, but like
It just
they can
depends
do
if they want to, and the reason I say that is because Marza Animation, or the company that does a lot of the CGI Sonic stuff, have recently updated their models. The updated ones, granted, are not in the Crossworlds promo stuff, but they were in like the Sonic X Shadow Generations launch trailer. And they've shortened the quills. They've made them match the game models now. So I do think Sega are going to stick with that, whether we like it or not. And it's quite funny, Trey, because I remember you mentioning in the past, the problem with the new quill system is that you can't really fit a skull in his head. And I recently did a video kind of dissecting that model and the critiques of it. And I saw for myself, yeah, you couldn't fit a skull in here. However, I have noticed that on some of the new promo art, they show Sonic from the side a lot in a lot of this Crossworlds promo art. And I think they're really priding themselves on having that 3-quill silhouette. They have moved the quills back slightly in Crossworlds, meaning that you can fit a skull in there now. I think they are definitely going to still move in the direction of short quills, but find a way to make it work, basically, which I'm all for. I'm hoping that the next time I see Sonic from the back, it won't look like his quills are clipping into each other, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't
he
see
also
them
has
going
that
back.
like Sonic also has that weird bald spot on the bottom of his head. Like he always has that weird bald spot now because they're trying to do like the 3 silhouette,
Yeah,
3
it's
quill silhouette thing.
and
It's
I know
weird.
that they've done it because they want the games to look good from the side and stuff like that, because 2D is just a thing. But like
Mhm.
for games that are going to be mostly 3D, I think it probably makes more sense to go the old way. Which is funny because classic Sonic's model in Sonic X Shadow Generations, as well as Superstars, goes through a more modern quill system.
Yeah,
Where you only get the 3-quill silhouette from a specific angle, but otherwise his main middle quill is poking out the most. So they've updated classic Sonics to be more like modern Sonics used to be, while modern Sonics now are more like how classic Sonics used to be. I don't understand what they're doing, because I understand they did the 3-quill thing just for looking at it from the side. And if you look at Dream Team, which is entirely 3D, they do go for the long quills. It's so like, it's such an anal thing to talk about. I get it, but at the same time, it's just I don't quite understand the thought process. I just really want to see how that next game's going to look. And I think yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the deform, I think like I'm just gonna call it a modifier because that's what it's kind of acting as. Because usually whenever you do squash and stretch and stuff like that, you have to do that manually. A lot of times, you have to like hand animate that, manually. Even if you do like mocap and you still want squash and stretch, it's usually handmade, right?
Yeah.
But like with this, I guess they're trying to cut out the middleman and only like animate just like the key points, but have the deform modifier kind of like do the rest, which is interesting, but I don't know how reliable that's going to be in terms of like conveying everything reliably, if that makes sense. Like, because the thing is with squash and stretch, it's not just squash and stretch or expressiveness for the sake of squash and stretch or expressiveness. It's not just for the sake of it. There's like intent behind it. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm not and I don't know if I'll get any sort of like pushback from this. The reason why I'm not the biggest fan of the new Donkey Kong model is because I feel like he's being expressive just for the sake of it, and it just looks a little bit hokey, and a little bit too much at times. And whenever we saw those test animations for Sonic, I had that same feeling where it's like, okay, it's just squashing and stretching just for the sake of it. But it's a modifier, so they can tweak it to where it can work out. But
I felt that when I
don't know how much time saving this is going to save. Is what I'm saying. Like,
when I saw the one where he's running, and he's just running in that like seaside hill area, I was like, yeah, this is squash and stretch for the sake of it. But like the ending of that bit was very good, and then like you've got the like the mirror scene and stuff. I think that's how it's supposed to be used, and I think it's. I might be mistaken here. I think it's mainly just to make the character kind of lean in certain directions, effectively. I might be wrong about that, but I think when used effectively, it will work out very well. And I think it shows that they are taking on feedback that they've had from animations from those other games. I mean, Shadow Generations already displayed a great deal of evolution in Sonic animation. As did Dream Team as well. Dream Team looked fantastic in an animation standpoint. Or the little bits of cutscene animation that there were. So it's like, to see that they're moving firmly in that direction. Another thing as well was like, anyone that's ever played, well, you probably noticed in games like Frontiers and Forces, Sonic doesn't move his eyebrows around much. He doesn't really emote much with his face. It's mainly in the eyelids.
Right.
And if you've ever played with those models, you can probably vouch that the geometry just completely breaks because they are horribly rigged in the face department.
Right.
With the Shadow Generation stuff on the Autodesk website, they showcase the new facial rigging systems that they've got set up for Shadow in that game, and they've completely overhauled it, allowing him to make a wide range of facial expressions to really use those eyebrows rather than just the eyelids. And yeah, it's so much better for it. I think, yeah, they're clearly trying to improve the animation of these games.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, for me, it's like, even like in the context of like these are cartoons, so of course they're going to be expressive, and of course they're going to be all over the place. There should still be intent behind it. It shouldn't just be just waving and going all over the place and stuff like that. Just for the sake of it. Like, I feel like there has to be like approaches that like give these movements and animations like more depth than just being expressive, than just being lanky, or just having squash and stretch and stuff like that.
I think the main thing they should probably look at is things like the opening cutscene of Sonic Unleashed. Like, I'd say Prime as well, but like Prime I feel is like a more extreme version. But like, if you look at like the opening cutscene of Sonic Unleashed and stuff like that, Sonic's movements are very elasticy and they complement kind of the speed as well. Like,
oh yeah, there was like intent to everything in that opening cutscene, which is why it's praised to high heaven, and it should be, because that opening cutscene for Unleashed is like, that's what.
They got him.
They got him.
Yes,
What do you mean? What do you mean they got him?
He's back.
Oh, hello.
Hey, yeah,
Hello?
your last thing you said cut out. If you want to try again.
Oh yeah. Sorry. But the Unleashed opening cutscene is actually a great example of how you can still have cartoony movements, but still have intent and impact behind them, rather than them just being like noodly and all over the place just for the sake of it. Like that's. I'm not saying we have to go exactly back to that, but that's not a bad template to go off of.
It
Like
needs to, yeah,
if
it needs to
Sega's
complement like the weight. Because for example, if you took modern Sonic and gave him the classic Sonic run cycle, it's not really for that. That's not really how modern Sonic should move. Like, because like
Right.
with classic Sonic it works because it's a very rounded design. He has this rounded little run cycle, and he moves his legs like they're little wheels anyway. With modern Sonic,
Right.
you want that squash and stretch to kind of be there in service of like, this is the weight of his feet. He's moving so
Yep.
fast that his other foot effectively lags behind and has to catch up to the other
Right.
one. Like, the
Exactly.
body parts he's not lunging forwards with need to be kind of weighted behind him and need to kind of be slightly delayed so that we can kind of believe the kind of speed and weight of his move. Tom, would you say anything I'm saying there is incorrect? Like, knowing what you know?
Follow along. I am listening. I'm just trying to process everything.
You're an actual part of human fucking garbage, you know?
I'm trying to process it all. I'm
There's
sorry.
not a single redeeming quality to you.
Well, you like I guess to bring Tom and whoever wants to kind of like jump in on this.
Yeah.
Would you agree that like intent behind the actions, intent behind like the animation is just as important as like the animation itself?
Well, yeah, intent is always
where
the
the movement-
starting point. It's like, you don't just
Yeah,
want to say,
absolutely.
if someone said, "Hey, look at this Sonic animation," yeah, what of it? Needs squash and stretch. That doesn't necessarily say anything.
Yeah,
Because
that's
you
just
saying it
like-
needs squash and stretch. Well, why?
What
Why
part
does it need
needs
squash and
to-
stretch? What are the
Yeah, what,
actions?
like, what do we want to
or like squash and
communicate?
stretch in terms of what? And actually, a lot of people I've noticed they complain about whether or not something's squash and stretch, and it's like that's not even what you're complaining about. What most people are complaining about is anticipation with animation in Sonic stuff a lot of times, because like Sonic stuff squashes and stretches, but there's no wind up barely to any of the animations. There's no like that's the anticipation of it is why people feel like it's off sometimes. And
Sonic's,
sometimes they overcorrect and go the opposite direction, like in the case of the Frontiers DLC, where Knuckles had a wind-up animation for his glide for some reason. It's like, no, we don't want that. We want anticipation, but not where it affects the gameplay. You know, like
Sonic Frontiers as well, like the fight moves and stuff. I think they look really cool when freeze framed, because you've got Sonic's hand really pushing out and stuff like that. His arm is outstretched in front of him. The problem is, in the animation, I don't know how it got there, or why it's like that. You know, it's just like that because it looks cool in a still frame. And I think that's the thing, is where a lot of the strengths of Sonic Frontiers are when they've basically just got a still image that looks cool. I mean, like, put it this way. Like, when Sonic does, like, that, clone jutsu thing that he does to Giganto in the Supersonic fight, where there's, like, a flurry of phantom Supersonics and stuff, there's not really any movement in that scene. It's cool because you're seeing lots of Sonics appear in the sky, and then they all move in on Giganto. But the animation there is tantamount to that of a motion comic, effectively.
Right.
And I think these are just some things that I'm, like, taking into account with, like, Speeding Ticket, which I'm working on. Is, like, for Sonic, let's say we want to accentuate his facial expression changing. Like, maybe he's gone from feeling confident to feeling a little less confident. Is, like, he's naturally going to blink at some point. Usually people blink when their facial expression changes. But let's say I really want to accentuate that. Squash Sonic's head down and then have it pop back up again as it meets this new one, showing that there is a sense of shock to this. You know, there's a sense of kind of recoil, effectively, in that moment.
Right.
You always have to have that intent. But if it's just like he does that every time he blinks, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, like there's also like the contrast of like by the way, in my back, Discord's kind
Yeah,
of
you're
acting
back.
weird
You're
now.
here.
Okay. All right. But I think I think the biggest thing with like the anticipation thing that I'm talking about is mainly when it comes to like the fighting in Frontiers in particular, where like I don't know Sonic's a fast character, so his arms are not going to feel like they have that much weight, but you still have a little bit of weight to them whenever like you're punching and kicking and stuff like that. That's why I kind of harped on the whole like Sonic look like he's standing on air while he's airborne punching and kicking in Frontiers, is because like there's no sense of cohesion. I think that's the biggest thing too.
One of my
is
favorite
is like-
stupid idle pose moments in Frontiers as well. It's just like when you run into the end of like a cyberspace stage and you jump into the portal and he just idle animation.
Yeah, you just stand there. Yeah,
and he's in
I
midair.
hate that so much.
Why is he doing
He's in
that?
midair, yeah.
Like, when it would make so much more sense for him to like flail in there or something. Like,
They could make him
anything.
like dive into it or something, or like.
I
even
would have
just
been fine with them
disappear.
just freezing the last bit of the animation, because then it'd be like, okay, you just go out like that.
Yes,
and fine,
yeah,
but just
Yeah.
just idle.
Or
It's
go
funny,
into
you
a
know,
ball
if
and just
I-
repeatedly like just rotate or something. I don't know.
If I were in
Yeah.
charge of the visual component of that game, and I had just endless budget and time, I'd be like, can we make it so that when Sonic jumps into that thing, he briefly turns into a skeleton? Like, you see him X-ray for a second. That'd be so cool. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah, for
I'm-
sure.
Trying to find one more thing, actually.
Like when
Um,
he phases into it, like his everything but his skeleton, and then a moment later his skeleton goes with it.
Yeah.
The skeleton has to catch up to the... That would actually be so funny, the idea that sometimes you see is just his foot bone pop out of his fucking... That's actually horrible. That's a horrible idea.
Yeah, that sounds awful. That's
Just
the
the idea that,
worst.
yeah, he runs so fast that
Yeah.
his skin just flies off ahead and the skeleton's left behind.
It's just like it's just a pair of hands that just swipes each time, and they just take like different parts of Sonic until he's all gone.
Sonic has become
Yeah.
Rayman, and at this point he has finally surpassed Pong.
It is funny because Rayman has more weight to his floating appendages. Like whenever you like playing Rayman 2 or something like that, you actually do feel the weight of like his character, and it doesn't fuck with gameplay or anything. Anticipation doesn't necessarily mean that there's a lag or that you have to wait for the action to finish in order for the input to like be registered. Like there's even anticipation. There's anticipation in like. Well, I say all this to say this. It's all about weight distribution with Sonic's movements more than anything, in my opinion. It's about making him not feel like he's just gliding on the road or grass or anything like that. Like, and anticipation and staging and all that stuff, like pose to pose, all that, all the 12, whatever principles of animation, they help to convey that in a more natural way. It's not supposed to hinder gameplay or make it seem like it's lagging behind or anything like that.
So there's one thing I just want you boys to take a look at in the back rooms before we start wrapping up and moving on to Super Chat. But do we have anything else to say about animation?
I mean, no. I mean, other than just the fact
Right,
that
that
none of us
fucking
are professionals, and we're just kind of saying
Trey.
what we have seen. Huh?
That fucking gif of Knuckles with that. With
It's-
Yeah, I saw that as well.
yeah.
Yeah, that's tragic. Yeah,
Oh
like
my
Sonic
God.
Forces has
That-
some
that-
of the most undercooked animation.
It's bad. Yeah.
It's tragic on multiple levels. The
yeah.
animation and what the fuck they did to Knuckles.
Like
Yeah.
how his head...
And, like,
yeah, I think Knuckles needs a new model desperately. And the funny thing is, we
Yeah.
have one in Dream Team. Like, Dream Team's Knuckles
Yes.
model literally fixes the problems with Knuckles' design. Frank, have you seen
Yeah.
the Dream Team, like, model in that kind of form, like in isolation?
In what?
So have you clocked the difference in Knuckles' model in Sonic Dream Team?
No, I have not. I really should, but
Let me find a decent picture for you.
okay, because I think I got to a point where I just accepted that the animations were never gonna look good.
Well, the thing I'm kind of mentioning here is that Knuckles definitely is a new model because when you look at the character's silhouette, it just looks like a big teardrop. Like, that's the biggest issue. He looks fucking
no.
bald. There's no variance in his quills.
Oh, you're
Now
talking
look
about like
at-
his head. Yeah.
Yeah, but now look at his model from Dream Team. They literally fixed it.
Oh, yeah, that looks a lot better.
They have that model right there, and they're not using it in Crossworlds, and I don't understand.
I'm comparing it to the GIF of Sonic Forces.
That's so funny. But
Knuckles' ball
But,
arc
like,
really needs to end,
I
man.
guess the last point I'll make is that I don't like none of us are professionals when it comes to this. I feel like a lot of us have studied animation and have done it before. I know that I've studied it myself. And again, there's
I've
probably
only
some stuff where
I've
I've
only ever done 2D animation, so
I mean that still works.
Oh, look
Like,
at
that's
me! I do
still-
the most painstaking version of it. Oh.
you
Okay,
do
I
frame
won't
by
say
frame.
I won't say anything.
But I guess the point I'm making is that there's probably some things that weren't completely 100% accurate on, but the main points that I wanted to make is that you have to have an intent behind the actions that you're animating, like in terms of like weight distribution, stuff like that. And I feel like that's the biggest problem with this. People say squash and stretch and stuff like that. That really just means that like the kinetic energy is flowing throughout the body, and like that's what's making it stretch or squash, basically, right?
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
it's a distribution of energy. Because if
Um,
you
Yeah,
just
the
punch
easiest way
something,
to because like the easiest way to show it off is just the bouncing ball animation practice. That's
yeah,
like
exactly.
the basic. You need to apply squash and stretch there to make it look like it's really bouncing quite nicely.
So just
Yeah,
yeah. One more small miniature topic. I'm gonna call this a cooldown topic. If you guys all check the video I just posted in the back rooms, this is very interesting. So this is also not really news. It's a month old, but it's something we didn't really talk about. And it's because we usually would talk about this kind of stuff in a fan project video. But like, while we're talking about how like Sonic Team clearly has bigger intentions and a bit more common sense than I think they're given credit for, and a bit more common sense than I've given them credit for, to be honest. Here we have a mod by Ace Super, who's altered 1,200 plus lines of code in Sonic Frontiers to implement things that were supposed to be effectively implemented. According to Ace Super, this is kind of the stuff that they did have in mind for the pop-in. So basically, Sonic Frontiers' overall visual direction is kind of horrible because, like, it doesn't really need to be said, but, like, the islands are very natural and the platforms in the sky are very unnatural, and it all comes together in this pop-in, pop-out piece of shit garbage, right? That's how we know Sonic Frontiers to be. So it's also kind of known that those platforms were added in very late as a response to, like, playtesters that wanted it to be closer to a Sonic platformer rather than a Sonic Combat Garden with cyberspace levels, effectively. And they knew this wasn't going to look very good, so the low draw distance was kind of a conscientious choice, so that you could still look at the landscapes and it still looks good when it's not in motion. However, it's shown here that the intent was, rather than just popping in and out, they were going to have these platforms have a transition on them as they kind of illuminate first and then fade in, and they had a sound for it as well. And that sound is meant for that. Like, according to...
I am so surprised, because I remember seeing at least something of this nature in, like, one of, like, the pre-release, like, beta builds or something like that for it. And it was something, it wasn't this smooth. Like, this person made it very nice and smooth, and it looks, like, phenomenal, actually. Like, it's nicely done if you're watching this, nicely done. But I remember seeing that, and I was just like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because it's supposed to be cyberspace, like, it's supposed to be almost like this, like realm within a realm type deal, so of course not everything's going to load in.
These things reveal themselves to you as you explore the island,
exactly.
And that's quite a solid little idea. And they clearly even had a sound devoted to this as well that was in the files. And I think Ace Super, maybe I'm paraphrasing things incorrectly here, I hope I'm not, but from the looks of things, this is kind of what Ace Super's trying to do, is kind of what the intent was with Sonic Team. This was kind of how Frontiers was supposed to look, but they didn't have the time or they didn't have the resources. Ace Super themselves has even pointed out that, like, yeah, there are big bugs that come with this as well. And not being able to fix those things, they probably were just like, you know what, it's better that it works and looks disgusting than it not work, you know?
If I were to add one more thing to it, I think the sound effect of, like, all of the different assets just, like, slowly fading in, I think that would get old really fast.
It would need to be so quiet in the mix. So it's like, you can tell something tangible's going on, but it's not happening all the fucking time, or that it's not distracting. The other thing is, in Shadow Generations, actually, if you activate the Chaos Island platforms in the hub world, and then run away from them, they do that same effect that's showcased here.
Yeah.
So I think the thing we could kind of take solace in is Sonic Team are very aware of the problems that have kind of plagued Sonic lately, at least from, like, a presentation standpoint. That was the biggest fear I had, was that they were just blind to these problems and would just do the bare minimum because they know we're still willing to accept it. Clearly, they are trying. They tried the first time, and time was working against them.
Yeah.
And now we're about to see kind of everything they've learned going forward. If Shadow Generations is any indication, things are moving in an incredible direction. Sonic Crossroads, once again, from a visual and presentation standpoint, is showcasing improvements, even though, I'm going to say this, there are some perplexing things in the visuals for Crossroads. We talked about how Apotos is lower poly than the fucking Wii version of Apotos. And
the doors are just painted on. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That seems to be true across a lot of the
They don't even reach the ground.
One thing they've revealed is the Mystic Jungle from Sonic Forces is in the game. And they haven't put a skybox in. There's no skybox. It is just pitch black.
Oh, perfect. I love Sonic.
Blue Wolf pointed this out. It's not that it's just dark. There just is no skybox there, which is really interesting. Yeah. And I'm wondering if that's going to change. That's the thing, is there do seem to be some half-finished visual quirks still, and I'm hoping these will get ironed out. I don't know if the lower poly thing is to accommodate for maybe the type of game or the online play or something like that.
I think it's like...
I'd say it's probably because like the number of stages that could potentially be in one race, you need to load them in fast.
True.
They did load it in very quickly.
That's
also,
that's true.
Like Sonic's model is lower poly than it is in a lot of other games. In it, he's noticeably lower poly. You notice,
I don't think it's that much. I wouldn't say it's that much of an issue because considering how you change course after every lap, it's constantly changing, new assets, new lighting, so everything's changing. To save on that, you have everything be lower poly and a bit lower overall.
It would be different. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry for interrupting, but like it would be different if, like, let's say Crossworlds was like, let's say like a PS5 exclusive, because I know that Rift Apart, Ratchet & Rift Apart, they loaded in completely new environments on the fly, and it was because they were utilizing the PS5's like SSD to like really load that in and everything, which was super. It's a super cool technique, but they also have to keep in mind they're also releasing this on PC, and there's probably a lot of people that still just use just like normal hard.
I mean,
hard drive
even
discs,
like down to
similar
stuff as well happens with like Sonic X Shadow Generations, and on the Switch,
right?
You know, you go from you go from fucking Space Colony Arc to Radical Highway in the blink of an eye, effectively.
Yeah.
And it does it successfully on the Switch with no slowdown or anything like that. And I think the director, I don't know if I'm right about this, might be the director, might be someone else, but someone mentioned that they do have a secret source to that, effectively. That is kind of equivalent to, like, load these things in as early as you can. And in things like the cutscene with Black Doom taunting you and stuff, is effectively a backdoor loading screen. While it loads in the rest of the level. Very impressive stuff, I must say. Especially that they've got like something like that going on the Switch. This is all stuff I've wanted to see for such a long time. I remember when Sonic Forces Overclocked dropped, I was like, oh my god, we got a level where we go from Starlight Zone to Green Hill. We actually have a scenery change mid-level. That's incredible. So getting to see that in Shadow Generations and seeing that they're really going hard in that direction for Crossworlds is incredibly exciting. Like, I think they are pushing it now, and that makes me very happy.
I think so too, and like I also like to think that Sonic Team as a team has grown exponentially since Frontiers, because Frontiers, I think they only had like 60 people working on that game, which is
a very
small team. Like, that's like indie, my favorite indie studio, Sonic Team. You know what I'm saying? Like, people were joking.
For a project like that, it is incredibly small.
And incredibly impressive that they were able to pull it off to the degree that they did, because Frontiers is definitely one of those games where it's like, if the climate was a little bit different, this would have failed massively. It would have been the next OCS.
I think like it's also like something that I am realizing more and more is behind a lot of these very poor games. I guess like I'm saying poor. I love Frontiers, but it's a shoddy product, and behind a lot of these shoddy Sonic products is a feat of brilliance, like Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric, for example. And you guys know that I have a bit of a soft spot for that game, but no matter how shoddy it turned out, it can't be denied the fact that Big Red Button were able to get a game designed for CryEngine working on a Wii U is a feat that was never done before and was never done since. behind these janky, buggy messes is usually a team of incredibly competent people that have just been affected by shitty decision making, such as Sega being like,
they've been dealt the worst hands you could imagine at that point.
Yeah, honestly.
So honest to God, like those big red button guys deserve a fucking pay rise after that. But no,
well, like we were talking about all this animation stuff and the problems within it, and like trying to convey it as much as we can. And again, there's probably some things on my end that I wasn't able to convey the absolute best or accurately, so I do apologize on that if there's any misinformation out there regards to that. But I think it's a thing where it's like we're kind of preaching to the choir too, because it's not like Sonic Team doesn't know animation or doesn't know game design. You know, it's like there's definitely some things where it's like things have had to be compromised and things had to be changed because it's almost like, okay, is this battle worth fighting? Is this issue really worth fixing all that much?
There's a difference
like, not
between
really,
like an animator not knowing how to animate versus a product that doesn't demonstrate an understanding of animation. Sonic Frontiers does not demonstrate much of an understanding of art direction or animation, but the people working on it probably have an immaculate understanding of it, and they have been dealt a really shitty hand because the production history of Frontiers is a mess. It's a game that never made it out of alpha and beta conventionally. It was just, hey, here's this little thing we've done. You guys like that? Okay, we'll build on that some more. We'll keep going. Is this fun? Okay, great. Let's see how people like it.
Yep. And
also $60, please.
And a lot of people like gotta understand that within a development team, you're there to like do a job and serve the vision of the company that you're under, you know? So it's like, even if you notice these issues and all this other stuff, it's like sometimes you kind of have to like bite your tongue and just move on and get your paycheck and go, you know? Like, I like to think that the people on Sonic Team are true fans of Sonic and want to see this in the best light. And they probably are, especially nowadays for sure. And I think they have a bigger team to convey that. But
yeah, it definitely is. Like, time is the biggest enemy of everything, it seems, as going forward. Time is just the biggest killer of a lot of these circumstances.
Yeah, I mean that's why I still root for Sonic Team and Sega, you know? The only thing that I've ever really honestly, the only thing I've ever really hated out of the most recent products were the business practice side of things, like with Origins with their stupid digital deluxe, you know, whatever shit that was confusing. And
in terms of like
even the
games,
digital deluxe stuff, and even the digital deluxe stuff
Origins
that
Plus.
ended up being Origins Plus, and like stuff that that became available later on and you didn't need to buy it or whatever, or like it's all been the business side of things that I haven't been the biggest fan of, and like
that's a Sega thing.
I think it's like they're doing original. In terms of like non-remaster Sonic games, though, I can safely say I think in the 2020s the only game for Sonic that has come out that has made me go, that was a misfire, is Superstars. Which is funny, because that is the one that's just doing the most tried and tested, impossible to fuck up thing.
In all honesty, like the only thing, in my opinion, the only thing that was really wrong with Superstars was just like the bosses. I'll be honest, like
I do agree in a lot of ways. Like I would, I'll go a little further and say, I think as far as the standard set by games like Sonic 3, Sonic Mania and stuff, Sonic Superstars doesn't come near that bar. So it is a lesser overall thing in terms of level design, because it's not as vast and expansive as those games. It doesn't have as good art direction as those games either. You know, it doesn't feel like these are big lived-in places the way they do in Sonic Mania. There's, like, in Sonic Mania, you've got Studiopolis. It's like the upper route is, like, the Sunset City in the background. And then you've got, like, the TV studio stuff and the film studio stuff down low. You've got the popcorn machines at the bottom. It's so layered. And Superstars has nothing like that. If you go to Press Factory, it will look like Press Factory. You go to Sand Sanctuary, it will look like Sand Sanctuary. Everything is so overly consistent. But I could look past all of that were it not for the boss fights. And I could even look past that were it not for the fact that almost every single level in the game features a boss fight, and the majority of the game is spent fighting a boss.
Yep. And like this also, and I feel like now we're starting to see just like I feel like Crossworlds is going to be a good product. And I can't wait to finally play it. Whether or not I'm going to get it on launch day is to be determined. Like
Whether or not you're going to pay for digital deluxe.
Whether they're not going to pay
Yeah,
for that
whether-
digital deluxe on your Nintendo Switch 2.
whether or not I buy a
Oh, he's got to wait longer then.
whether or not I buy a whole Xbox Series X just to play Crossworlds.
I actually bought two
it'll
copies,
be-
guys. I bought two
Yeah.
copies and some merch.
But yeah, actually, I'll buy 2 copies, give it away to someone. Because I'm so generous as a Hollywood elite. But
Oh, look at and then he's
Oh,
gonna
look at that.
he's
He's
gonna tweet
advocating
about
for
it.
the
Look at
Hollywood
this.
elites, and yeah, he's gonna take a video of
this
himself.
fake chair.
Yeah, he takes a video of himself giving a homeless person a copy of Crosswords.
Yeah,
Like, he doesn't even have
but,
anything to
like-
play it on.
It's that
There's
one
still-
Mr. Beast video from years ago.
but like there's still like I feel like the main reason why I ended up buying the Switch 2 with the bundle for World is because like at least with Mario Kart it's like guaranteed a good time. And I'm not gonna lie, I did buy TSR on launch day, and God, that was one of the bigger letdowns of this series for me was TSR. Only shine away from Forces.
That
And
game
my-
like lived and died within a week.
My experience
Yeah.
with TSR is so weird because like I like after Forces, all I really wanted was the next mainline Sonic game, and when they announced TSR, I was like, don't really care. And so I didn't actually get TSR when it came out. I did not realize it was out, which is really rare for me when it comes to a Sonic thing.
yeah.
But then I get it one Christmas. And so because I had absolutely no expectations whatsoever, and it was gifted to me and stuff like that, my
Yeah.
experience with TSR was perfectly pleasant. Like, I do acknowledge
Yeah.
it is quite a sizable downgrade from
That's the
Sonic Racing
biggest thing.
Transformed.
Like, if you didn't play Racing Transform before, then I feel like you would have had a better time with TSR. I
Also, I think
that's
the
my
fact that
thing.
they lifted some courses wholesale from Racing Transformed
That's
and
true,
the first
too.
game
Yeah.
was so fucking lazy.
That's true.
That's true.
Yep.
However,
That's true.
like here's the thing I did say the other week as well was I said if Sonic Racing Crossworlds does not fix things like too much bumper carring and stuff like that, then Team Sonic Racing will be better than Crossworlds, I said. And I
Right.
will still stand by that because Team Sonic Racing is ultimately a pleasant racing experience, and that's what I want more than anything else, is just to enjoy racing along and stuff
Racing
like that.
game. Yeah.
However, seeing more footage of Crossworlds, we're definitely seeing that global play is just one element of that. And that things
Right.
like the cars all smacking into each other, in a lot of the gameplay, we haven't seen that. Maybe you see a bit of that at the start, but
Yeah.
then it eventually finds its form and stuff like that. And your average
Yeah.
player isn't always going to be on world play. You're going to play with friends, you're going to make custom matches,
Right.
you're going to go into games and stuff, and I'm just like, I think this can work. I mean, I'll have to play it for myself,
Right.
obviously, but I think this can
Right.
work. It's also helped by the fact that the boards are much narrower than the cars as well, and it looks like you can kind of finesse them a bit more. So, we'll see.
That is
but...
going to be an interesting like meta is like the boards versus the cars because you do take up less real estate on the track with the boards.
Yeah, it
and
does
I don't know
appear
if
that's
a-
the only difference, though, if anything. Like,
Yeah, but
it's
that's
just-
still enough of a difference.
yeah,
in
it's just
terms
if you
of, like-
wanted Extreme Gear to be, old school Extreme Gear, it's going to be disappointing.
Yeah. Well, sadly, I do have to get going. I gotta go to a concert tonight. But I just want to say thank you for having me on. Sorry for being a little bit late in it. Like ended up having to do some work.
No
But
fuss.
I just want to say I love all of you and much love to everyone in chat. Even those who have been critical of me, I'm open and all ears on that kind of stuff, and I appreciate it all.
I just tell them to
always.
fuck off. It'll be funnier that way.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Just tell them to mind their business. Who cares if you've got a Switch 2, genuinely?
No, it's not even that. Yeah, I think some of it was also directed at like the animation side of things and how that would like affect gameplay and things of that nature. I will say if you want some good animation that still feels responsive and natural, like play like the Ratchet and Clank games, like the new ones. Those
Oh,
actually
yeah.
are great.
No,
Those are a
definitely.
great example of like the animation still being like weighty and bouncy, but still being very responsive and nice.
And Rift Apart is such a treat. Like, you're missing out if you don't get the chance to play.
Oh, Rift Apart is like probably one of the best games I've played. I'm not even joking.
Oh
It's
yeah,
so
no,
good.
it's a very exciting game. It has some really egregious glitches, but like outside
Oh
of
yeah,
that,
for sure.
it's really solid.
Yeah, that I haven't ran into many glitches. I played on PS5, so maybe
I played on
maybe that's
PS5
the
as
reason.
well, and
Oh, okay.
I had an instance where I was in like a level and like the objective hadn't loaded in, so I had to restart from the last checkpoint. And it
Oh,
wasn't a
fair
big
enough. Yeah.
deal, but it was just like, yeah, like the idea was like you clear out this room of enemies and then like this thing opens up. I'd cleared out the room of enemies, but the thing hadn't opened, and I had to kind of restart from the last. And that was frustrating,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's really acceptable, but at the same time, God fucking damn it, the rest of the game is so good. Not to mention, the power shoes are kind of the perfect
Oh,
Sonic gameplay style.
yes. That's literally Shadow. I was like, if Shadow, like, if the shoes were a gameplay mechanic, like that's what I would want it to feel like.
Yeah, like, and also, like, the idea of, like, controlling the left foot and right foot. Really
Yes, I
interesting.
like
I would
that.
love to see a Sonic game give that a go.
That would be very sick. But anyways, I just want to say I love all of you. Tom, it's always a pleasure. You're great.
Oh, thank you very
And
much. Thank you.
absolutely. And Frank,
Tom,
love you too.
Don't forget to
which
thank Trey
Frank,
for being nice, for not rejecting
he
you.
just said thank you. He
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
he
but
just said
thank him for not rejecting you as a person in general.
Okay, thank you for not rejecting me, Trey.
and Frank, love you too. Pup, love you, man. I will talk to y'all later.
Love you too,
Bye-bye.
Trey.
All right.
Farewell.
Goodbye. Play Deltarune. As a final message.
All right.
Ew, Deltarune.
Absolutely play Deltarune.
Ew.
Let's speed run these super chats, shall we?
Okay.
All right.
All right, everyone got access to the mailbag?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, great. All right, Tom, you're the furthest left of the table, so which is crazy. Borker, why don't you start us off?
Okay, how far do I need to scroll?
Just find the last one to have a burger beneath it, you stupid bitch.
Okay, hang on. Right, okay. So yeah, dragon fruit with US $10. Bob Burger in Fortnite. Life is good.
Fortnite has taken a lot of my money over the past few days because I had to get the Superman. Like,
It's gonna take more.
yep, I need Bob's Burgers, and the thing that pisses me off now
Hank
though
Hill.
is that we've got a show accurate Bob, a show accurate Hank, a show accurate who else have we got? Cleveland.
Cleveland.
And we are due to get Homer at some point. Like Simpsons is happening at some point, right? So it makes me more pissed off that Peter Griffin is muscular.
Unless they give you a muscular Homer Simpson from the episode where he was getting plastic surgery.
Thing is though, like we got show accurate Cleveland and stuff. Like we can do plus size characters. We established that with the fucking chicken. I'm just saying they need to redo
Baymax.
Peter. They have to redo Peter Griffin.
Unless they bring in like a regular Peter Griffin for like a season.
Yeah, do it. I'll get it, and then I'll feel pissed off about the fact I got the muscular one when I did. So you can't.
When we spent
And
hours just
even
trying to
more
play,
money.
trying to level up so we can
Yeah,
get it.
we did. Yeah, that was how we first met. All right, we'll do this next one. Thank you, Dragon Fruit. So, Giorno with the 10 Brazilian reals, Frank. Could you guys shout out the hashtag Sonic Crosswords Dublado campaign? It's an effort from us Brazilian fans to get Crosswords and future title dubs here. Can be by sharing here or on Twitter. Any help is good. I'm pretty sure you sent me a link which I can put in the chat. But yeah, I'd be happy to support that, especially like given that they're charging more for Crosswords than any previous Sonic. I think they owe it to Brazilians to give them a dub. So let's just go.
Yeah, I think that's always been an issue with I don't know if it's Sonic releases or just video games in general, but Brazil seems to be left behind when it comes to like different language options.
Yeah, so it's like,
I mean, you're not going to be like, oh, it's Portuguese, but like from actual like Portugal Portuguese and Brazilian Portuguese, like I'm pretty sure they're different enough.
so Sega, if you want Brazilian reals, you're gonna have to put in a real effort to make yourself a fucking dub for the Brazilians. Pin that little
Make
message
yourself
there.
accessible.
Yeah.
There
Hell
we go, yeah.
All right. Okay, so yeah, that's in the chat. I put it in a pin comment. All right, Franken, you are up.
Mr. Krabs with $1.99 US. Gromit, why is Rivet and Rouge in your room, Gromit?
Is Gromit just me now? Because, like, I'd give both of them the good slam jam.
See what you've done, Mr. Krabs.
Also, God forbid Mr. Krabs has made any of us sing, because none of us here sing. Doesn't appear to. Borger. Alright.
Pup, totally not a furry, by the way.
Tom, read out that next
Absolutely.
one, you bitch.
Oz Productions, okay, fine. US 5.
Thank you.
Brenda the Hedgehog, Queen Alina the Hedgehog, Bernie the Hedgehog in the Archie series, Longclaw and Maddie Wachowski. Sonic's moms are always MILF.
Wait, who's
Nice, okay.
Bernie the Hedgehog? Wait, Bernice the Hedgehog, right? Oh god, no, he's right. Yeah, no, they are always fucking baddies. Wait, hang on, what about Longclaw? No, Longclaw's too owl-like.
Oh yeah, well you said you like it. It's set in
I'm
stone.
not a feathery chicken.
Pup, don't lie. You'd hit it.
No, I actually wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
No. My whole thing with Rouge is how close she is to human.
You sure?
She's like humanity perfected. These are just fucking animals at this point. Okay, well anyway, Borger. KB.
He's never gonna escape the allegations.
$9.99 US. Thank you, KB. Shut up, Frank. Pup, have you looked into Sonic Dash and Spin manga? There seemed to be a lot of wacky and vulgar humor into it, and a very happy shadow. That sounds right up my street. Very happy shadow, vulgar humor. Let's have a look. I'm gonna look this up on the internet now. I'm gonna type it into the Google.com. I don't know why I'm fucking saying this out loud.
Would you like to go onto the internet.com and...
Dash and Spin
is
Super Fast Sonic, a manga series written and illustrated by Santa, and now I'm waiting for it to load so I can see the last name, otherwise I'm just going to believe it was written by Santa. Santa Harukaze. It was originally serialized in the Japanese manga magazine Besatsu Cororo Comic Special. The Return! Published by Shogakukan. And then collected in 2 Tankoban volumes, both of which are out now. No, are now out of print. Fuck. The series was never published outside of Japan or in any... Please! This is a treasure trove. Cororo have a treasure trove of Sonic stories. And I want to read all of them. Also, the Klonoa manga is great for fucking vulgar humor as well. The last line of dialogue said by Klonoa is, "Looks like I'm in deep shit again." Oh man, I want to make a video on Sonic mangas. Like, take that, Game Apologist. Fuck your speed reading. We're gonna do Sonic reverse reading because it's a manga and you read it in reverse. Lol.
I mean, you're still reading it.
Shut up, Frank. Just shut your fucking face.
It's not like you go backwards and you unlearn everything you just read.
You unread it.
I'm unreading your manga.
Frank, it is your turn.
Okay. Samuel Inoki with the $2 US. If you want to see Wing, look up Miss Wing on SWZ. I don't know what that is. I refuse to look it up.
I think we're talking about when I said I wish we could see Wave take Wing, in a reference to Gop2.
I refuse.
You know, that video is really entertaining. It needs to be said.
It is entertaining, but I would not watch it again.
You wouldn't want to make it, you know. You wouldn't want to be the guy that makes that video. Like we can have a little chuckly chuckle.
Yeah, sure.
Little chuckle.
Let's go with that.
All right, next up. All right, Tom, you're up.
KB with US $1.99. The upgrade path for Crossworlds was confirmed.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so we'll have to let Trey know so he can buy it on both his Switch 1
and
and 2.
Sonic X Shadow Generations has no upgrade path.
Easy. Also, Tom, the way you read Super Chat, I'm just going to do it for the next one. Ugh. Mr. Krabs with the $1.99. Lady, gent, and NB, it's the weekend. You got to usher it in, Tom. You got to usher it in.
I'm not the one to say it. You've got to usher it in.
No, you have to usher it in or else it's bad luck forever.
But you said the
It will
weekend.
literally be bad luck for everyone in the world ever if you don't do this, and it will be all
Then
your
you
fault.
do it.
No,
Then you do it.
because you are the one
Why?
that has to do it. I'm not the one mentioned in the proverbs.
The proverbs. What proverbs are you speaking of?
The proverbs, the weekend proverbs. The weekend will never come if Tom Topics does not usher it in.
Can you point me to this stone? Is this in the British Museum? What is this?
Look, it's right here. See? Please.
God damn. Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend once more.
No,
Let
no,
me
you're
go,
trying to get
please.
too creative with it. It's not the way I like it.
Uh,
Not my usual order.
Oh, please do the thing. No, do the thing the way I want it done.
You know how it's supposed to sound. Come on.
I don't really want to do this.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I don't really
Come on.
want this.
Repeat after me. Ladies and gentlemen.
Why must... Ladies and gentlemen,
The weekend.
the weekend. There you
See?
go.
That'll do.
It's close enough to move on.
It was better. Alright, so next up.
Good for you, good for you.
Rankin, you're up.
Dramadri with the $5. I like the squash and stretch, but I really hope this means they'll make new models because seeing that old ass model move like that is uncanny.
We're not seeing a lot of new model, are we? Like, we do want to see that. I'd
New
love to see a new
model.
model. Yeah, new model.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
This is our new model Tesla. You can buy it and give Elon Musk some money. Tom will be there day one. So will
No, I
Trey
will
because he's
not.
got money burning a hole in his pocket and he needs to spend it. Borg.
I mean, he's already got that Cybertruck, you know.
Yeah, Trey Nobles has a Cybertruck. Wait, I'm gonna just copy and paste a few more of these down and then
Scorn him. Oh dare.
I mean, have you, Tom, are you up with that next?
I'm reading this one coming up, I think.
Yeah, go on then, bitch.
Jeremy McCullough with £2. They need to work on making Sonic's eyes emote.
Dead on. Also,
Yeah.
it's pronounced Jerome, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, sorry.
You're a fucking stupid bitch. But no, like, the less
know.
of the eyelids moving, more of the eyes, you know, like, and I think they're working on it. I think that is something that is happening if Shadow Generations is anything to go. Next up, Borger. Bladed Fox 14 sends $5. Sonic TSR cutscenes better or worse than Forces? I mean,
I don't know if that's easy to compare because
I
they're
would
very
say-
different.
it's like comparing kind of between a douche and a turd because like the presentation of TSR's cutscenes for what it is works functionally, like it works, but it should be better than that. Like if you want to communicate a story, like sure, by all means have a little PNG moment like what I just mentioned, like with the frontiers when they're standing still ones and it is just dependent on what they're saying. By all means do that kind of thing. But don't tell the whole story that way, otherwise it just becomes a waste, I'd say. But, like, Forces functionally doesn't look good at all. So it's a very difficult comparison.
I'd probably say, I don't know. I mean, it's hard. Yeah, it is hard to say because they're both.
Well, that's amazing. I'll
Yeah.
probably say, yeah, I don't know.
I was going to say something, but then I changed my mind midway through because actually I don't know which I'd pick to be completely honest. They're both. I don't
You're
know.
nothing, Tom. Less than nothing. You're a dead man.
All right.
All right. So.
God damn.
Borger Frank.
Oh no.
Let's see. Mr. SP with the $613. What?
What a number.
Very specific.
Yeah, they should just burn it all down and go back to their roots. Bring back the Sonic Schoolhouse model.
That number is today's date. If you're an American, anyway.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Why would you do
now
that?
it all makes sense.
Thank you, Mr. SP. And to be honest, I
that
would
just
actually
means
love...
if they super chat later in the year, it's going to be more money.
I would love that Oh, actually, yeah, good point. I would love
Ooh.
the Sonic Schoolhouse model to be a DLC for Sonic Generations. That would be awesome. A shame we didn't see more DLC for that, actually. Oh, look at our season pass.
it is a shame, but
Borker. Also, I want them to make the Dreamcast model available.
Okay.
Like, okay, so, Tot, you're up.
Oz Productions with $5. I'm shocked Sega didn't steal the Wreck-It Ralph way of animating Sonic's mouth. I hate the snaps so much.
So that's actually not
Yeah.
inherent to Wreck-It Ralph. So with the Wreck-It Ralph thing, that model was supplied to them, I believe, by either Blur Studios or Marza, and it is the one that was used in like Sonic Unleashed. And that can do that. It does it in like Sonic Unleashed CGI cutscenes. It does it in CGI cutscenes. It does move around a lot. And it hasn't really done that in the games outside of Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric and Sonic Dream Team. Those are the places where it actually does do that. They're clearly working on it if it's in Dream Team, but I think the snap is purely just for, like, in gameplay. I would like them to, you know, be able to do that as well. Like, but, like, I understand that it's a very difficult thing to kind of pull off in those engines. I guess we'll see how things fare up. It clearly worked in Unity, which is what Dream Team uses, so maybe they'll get it working in Unreal. Probably will, I'd imagine. I don't really like you, Tom.
Technology supports it, so it can do it.
I don't really like you as a person. Orker. Who read last? Was it me? Or was it... No, it was Tom. So it's my turn now. Whale Fox Johnson, once again an awesome name, sends $10. I've been a game on, since the early 2000s and played a lot of critically acclaimed games. Sonic Frontiers being called lame for poor or misaligned is a take that never clicked with me since the release. I mean, I guess, I just think it's a very shoddy product. Like, in how it's very cobbled together. Like, I think the problem is when everywhere you're looking, something is just not loading incorrectly. It is a bit of an issue, and there are a lot of bugs and stuff. But it is also aggressively, you know, a AAA game these days, ultimately. But I'm always going to push for more quality, I guess. I like the game a lot, I really do. It's just, I don't think it's very well made.
I've got a few grievances. Still got a lot of grievances with it. It's just, I just wish it was better overall.
Especially with like Final Horizons,
I'm pretty sure I've gone on other shows before.
Especially when it came to like Final Horizons, I was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot, but I can see why people would draw the line here. Like, I don't think this is an acceptable release. That's just my 2 cents. But thank you for your $10, Whale Fox Johnson. So, Borg. You are up, Franken. Franken with
okay. Mr. Krabs with the $2.99 super chat. Hank Hill, Bobby, I'm in Fortnite. I tell you what.
God dang it. I really want Hank Hill in Crossworlds, actually.
Sure.
Borger. Tom, it's you.
KB. Yeah, KB with $1.99 US again. Thoughts on the CG intro to Crossworlds?
Right, yeah, because this is something that's
I think
kind
it
of...
looks alright.
It hasn't leaked, but it hasn't, like, officially released. Like,
yeah,
it comes
I believe
from
it was somebody's record.
Yeah,
Summer
someone's
Game
recording
Fest.
on the screen. Yeah, and it's someone who is in kind of the... kind of in Sega's good graces and stuff like that, so I'm just kind of going to approach it as what that is. So yeah, we got that CGI intro. It's not all CGI, by the way. There is definitely that part where like the Sonic models are all jumping into frame, and you've got the very simple geometric background. And I think it's actually kind of cool to see them in that kind of environment and in that art style. But, like, those you can tell are the in-game models, but then it kind of switches between CGI and stuff. And I think it all looks great. I'm super happy that we're getting a bit more like this. The only thing I'm going to say is, I'm not sure how I feel about the theme song. I get it, it's a racing spin-off. The But like, it ain't no supersonic racing. That's for sure. Like, it melodically it's fine. It's just it's aggressively Saturday morning TV. Like, I think my buddy Dom said it's like a Disney era Power Rangers theme. But I saw another person say there's going to be kids screaming this at the top of their lungs, playing this and booting this up. Same way they probably did for Sonic Heroes. So, you know, like, as long as the next mainline game has a vocal track I really like, you know, I'm not too concerned. Green Light Ride was never great, and that's a shame because it was the comeback of Crush 40. But, I'm gonna be honest, like, the whole soundtrack for Crossworlds isn't selling me.
You need the Wall 5 remix.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, they recently revealed a Sand Road for Crossworlds, and there's gameplay of it. And I was just listening to the music. I was thinking Sand Road was also in Team Sonic Racing, and he had this incredible remix for Team Sonic Racing, which is kind of like how that would have sounded were it not for kind of the limitations they were working with back in the time of Sonic Adventure. So now we got much more realistic instruments, and we got like a very jazzy kind of take on it, but you've also got like lots of rock guitar, and it's beautiful. The new version for Crossworlds is in that same instrumental style as the rest of Crossworlds' music, which I can only really describe as like, it feels like an elevator music cover of it. I feel the same way about like the Metal Harbor track. Metal Harbor, the original track, brilliant. Fantastic track. The rock and the brass, beautiful. The Crossworlds version, fucking elevator music in my opinion. And I think that's the style this game is going for with its music. And I'm not keen. Probably spent way too much time on that question, given that KB didn't even ask about that stuff. We'll move on. Borger. It's my turn to read, I guess. KB with the $1.99. Thank you, KB. Also, costumes are now in Dream Team. Yes, there's a new level coming, and the characters have different costumes, and I think that's pretty sweet, dude.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Now just port it. Just get it out there. If they make it a Switch
Yeah,
to exclusive, I might
really
just get
don't
a
want
Switch
to
too.
like. I don't want to charge my iPad again just to play Sonic Dream Team, especially because it didn't run very well. And I don't want to go get one of those Apple TVs because then in a couple years it's just going to be a paperweight.
I like my Apple TV. Yeah. It's a shame
Even
that
then,
like,
I've
an
heard, like,
amazing Sonic game is not more in the mainstream.
And I've heard that the like trying to capture an Apple TV has been a pain.
Yeah, really.
I maybe it was just like Dylan going through this kind of issues, but he did tell me that every now and then he had an issue with trying to capture it or stream it or whatever. And I have a feeling that I'd probably come across those issues as well.
Not the easiest thing in the world to kind of.
It's probably the HD copyright protection or whatever.
I mean, I've screen recorded lots of Dream Team footage and streamed it before myself as well. And what I did was, I mean, I've got one of those little USB capture cards as well. One where the input delay's fucking horrible, by the way. But like, obviously it's like a very cheap $15 thing, 1080p, 30 FPS. But you do get a fuck ton of input delay on it. But yeah, Webster helped me out with this. I think it was Webster or Mr. Terry Chaos, not sure. But basically showed me where I could get like an HDMI splitter so I could play it with the reaction times and without the input delay on my TV while also streaming it out. And it works fine in that way. So I don't know what Dylan's working with. If he's working with one of those fancy pants, Elgato capture cards.
That's no. He has like an AverMedia. But the thing is, like, I have no idea how I don't know how you're able to do like the $15 capture card with like a splitter. It was like, man, I don't know how you did that for so long without a splitter.
Yeah. It wasn't a good time. Hang on, I'm just gonna have some more. I am gonna put a super chat cutoff in place just so we can all rest after this. But thank you everybody for how generous you've been today. Super chat cut off.
For the money, you dummies.
Thanks for the money, you dummies. Okay.
Dark side pup.
Thanks for the money, you dummies. Okay, so Borger. And I think Tom is muted right now. So, Frank, you go for it.
Mr. Krabs with $1.99 US. Pup, you're not Gromit in these skits to clarify. Oh man,
It feels like
missed out
Gromit was
on getting
based
Long Claw.
on me. Oh man,
He missed out on Rivet and Rouge and Long Claw.
I just wanted some of that owl Lucy, you know. Woo.
He just wanted the scratch marks from Long Claw's talons.
Jesus heavens Christ to Betsy! Like, what the hell, Frank? Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to the next super chat. So, boring.
No.
Joe Madre, stop laughing. Joe Madre sends stop please. Sends $5 US. People not wanting the animation to be cartoony shows the danger of normalizing mid for too long. I think you're actually kind of right about that. There are some people that just kind of reject it. Maybe because they defend it the way it was before and they don't want to look like a hypocrite. I don't know, but maybe those are the best
quality.
words. There are 3 wonderful words in the human language that more people need to exercise. I don't know. Like, should they change the animation? More people should be saying I don't know than no. You know, like... Anyways. Borger.
Well, it's the internet, and people just refuse to be wrong about things.
True, it's like the amount of times when, like, YouTubers have been completely shat on for thinking critically about a new Sonic thing. And then a week later, everyone's decided they agree, and then, like, the YouTuber doesn't hear anything back, like an apology or anything.
Yep.
Classic. Well, Frank, I think this next one is for you to read. Since Tom is absent.
All right, Jerome McCullough. Oh, yeah, McCullough. Okay, I thought there was an I there for some reason. With 2 pounds? Is it McCullough or McCullough?
McCullough.
Okay, yeah, you're throwing me off with that one.
McCalifornia.
Make his hands and feet smaller remove his limbs too.
You had me to remove
Turn
his
Sonic
limbs.
into Rayman.
He's just fucking Rayman at that point.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Sonic, come over here. Bring your arms to me. We're gonna give you the Chris Chan treatment. On that bombshell, Tom.
Hell no. Yes. Okay, KB with 199. Thoughts on the rival dialogue in Crossworlds?
I
haven't seen it.
So, yeah, basically we know that the characters kind of smack talk each other a little bit, and we do know that DLC characters won't be doing that, only the 24 base game characters will. And there's been a bit of a discourse about one Amy has. Well, you're gonna say, Frank, you're wanting to say something. You're busting.
Oh, the discourse around Amy's dialogue. Please keep the trash talking to a minimum.
So,
it's like,
yeah, like, I understand that, like, they're trying to mature Amy up. That is just the direction they're going in. But, here's the thing. I can read that in Marge Simpson's voice. I am in the spirit of competition. I wish you good luck, but please keep the trash talk to a minimum. Like, that's Marge Simpson. That's not Amy Rose. Amy Rose is, clear the gangway. I'm gonna cook this turkey. I mean, but like, that's the thing is, Amy, her theme music literally goes for fire, because the whole thing was that she was kind of fiery. But now we've decided she has to be a role model for girls, and women aren't allowed to show their emotions ever. So now she will just be very organized and kind and polite. And I'm not actually going to boil it down to that. That's
and
quite
still thinking
a
about
fucking...
the Coco.
Still thinking about the Coco. Ever since she started thinking about those fucking Coco. I'm not going to stretch as far to say as, oh, it's because of politics. I'm not going to stretch so far as to say, oh, it's Ian Flynn's doing or anything like that. I'm not big on the group mom direction they're trying to take with Amy. Because Amy is feisty.
I just want Charlie from Smiling Friends. He's still thinking about the Coco.
Still thinking about the Coco. The thing is, yeah, like I obviously, like, talk about Amy's character does tend to get a bit political because some people refer to the old version as regressive and stuff like that. And, like, in cases like Sonic Battle, sure, but her being feisty, her being a little hot-headed, there was nothing wrong with that. Like, genuinely nothing wrong with that.
I will take that far... I will take that any day over whatever the hell we have now.
Yeah, and people will say, oh, it's just one line of dialogue, it's just one line. It's like, okay, imagine you're watching a Sonic movie, and in the middle of it, Sonic goes, oh, you know, actually, I think I like fascism. And then just never addresses it. It's like, oh, it's just one line, guys. Just one line where he was kind of out of character. It's like, he wouldn't say
line becomes
that.
Two lines become four lines become an entire script.
Yeah, I don't think New Amy's an awful character or anything, but I just think she's been declawed a little too much for my liking. She should be a bit feisty. She's a Sonic character. She's a Scrimblow. Like, Knuckles and Sonic will have a disagreement and beat each other up over it. But God forbid Amy lose her temper. God forbid Amy make a joke about cooking a turkey when talking to Jet the Hawk, who she would be like that too. And people are like, oh, it's just because they don't know each other very well. Bullshit! Have you seen... people are like, why do you always bring up Sonic X? Because Sonic X is, I think, the perfect reference for these characters done right. And some people will say, oh, Amy was awful in Sonic X. To which I say, shut the fuck up. No one cares. You're wrong. Okay, not that far, but like... I
100% agree with that message.
I'm so frustrated that, like... I remember just seeing a fucking reaction video to the Sonic 3 movie, and people are like, oh, so they're doing Amy, interesting, because she's a bit controversial. And I'm just like, why? Why is she controversial? What makes her... She's always been quite an empowered character, to be honest. She does things her way. She's confident. She wears her heart on her sleeves. Why is that anything to be ashamed of? No, fuck that. I want old Amy back.
I don't even know what the argument is of her being controversial.
So basically, a lot of people consider her to be a regressive female character because her entire character is that she loves Sonic, and that was never the case. And she always had a bit more to her than that. And people often bring up the lines from Sonic Heroes and stuff, and it's like, yes, you're kind of cherry-picking things here, but I don't think we can deny that a fiery approach to Amy's character. There's nothing really wrong with that. Why shouldn't she be a little fiery? It's in a fucking theme song. I don't hate New Amy, but I just think, I feel like we're seeing a bit of a degradation of this character, and I want to know why.
KB in the chat, at least current Amy isn't movie Peach. That could happen. There is a realistic possibility.
It's going to happen. It is going to happen. Like, I don't even doom posting. And look, it doesn't have to make her a bad character, in my opinion, but it is just a shame. It's a shame that this precedent is being set, that we're taking... there's no way of avoiding this conversation here. We're taking girl characters, getting rid of the personality they do have for fear of being regressive, and then just having a oven-ready personality. She knows what she's doing, just plop that on there, and that's it. You know, it's not so much about changing the characters, I just want them to be thoughtfully characterized. And New Amy is Marge Simpson. Keep the trash talk to a minimum. Sonic, you couldn't have gotten Knuckles a more thoughtful gift for Christmas? Tails, like, we're heading for the Starfall Islands. How exciting.
That should not fit as well as it does.
Oh, how lovely.
Pup, can we just get you to dub over all of Amy's lines in Frontiers?
We're like put a really bad Marge Simpson PNG over it as well.
Let's fucking go. Let's turn that into a mod.
I wonder if cream and sticks are free. We could go on a road trip. Okay, well anyway, I'm gonna move on from that now. Thank you, KB.
Okay.
Okay, Borker. Tom, do you want to get the next one? Who had the last one? I think it was you had the last one, didn't you? Okay, me then. Mr. Krabs.
It was about the Rivals dialogue, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
With the $1.99, I promise I won't go so tangential next. Alright, so describe Mr. Krabs with the $1.99. Why did I heard grunting sound in your room, Gromit? For fuck's sake, Gromit's fapping. Alright, okay, next one. Thank you, Mr. Krabs. Borger.
Sorry?
Oh, Frank,
Got a
look,
$2,
it's your best friend. Your best friend, Frank.
Well, I enjoy when he's on my streams more than when you're on it.
Dick. Actual dick. What the fuck? That's so hurtful.
Hey! You nearly got me banned with the whole like Sonic and Seinfeld thing, and then the soup guy.
I thought we could move on from this. I thought we could move forward.
Well, anyway, let's see with a $2 super chat to Pup, Cleveland Brown, Bob Burger, or Hank Hill. I don't know who Bob Burger is.
I
I
gotta
thought
be
that
honest.
was the name of the. I thought that was your name. It's the name of the restaurant.
I know the answer you all want me to give, but it's got to be Hank Hill. It's got to be
Hank Hill.
Yeah, Hank Hill, because it's just
Of course.
there's the age of it as well. But I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna have to find a way to get them all. All right, who wants to give me a loan? Like, give me a predatory loan. I'll pay you in sharks.
I'll pay you Tuesday for a Fortnite skin today.
Simple trade. You give me money for Fortnite. You get gratitude.
I'm probably gonna go with Hank Hill. I will never get Cleveland Brown because it is my understanding that the Cleveland show is the reason why King of the Hill had to move on to a different station for the last 4 episodes.
Yeah, Cleveland show also really sucked butts. Like,
Dude, we're gonna get banned.
look, man, you've already basically said you never want to stream with me again. All right, I'm just gonna. I just want to have a good stream. Good game.
Can't take this shit no more, man.
Your son has inadvertently, we hope.
Inadvertently.
Okay, Tom, this is the next one. This is for you.
Okay. Oh, is this Oz Productions? Making sure I'm getting it right, yes?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
It's Oz Production.
Okay.
Oz Production.
Okay.
Oz
Tom talks
Production.
about Frontiers like a disappointed.
I'm just
Yes, $2, thank you.
Son! Son, oh son! The poppin', oh son! You know why they call it Sonic Frontiers. Alright, thank you, Oz. Next up,
Okay.
Borger. Mr. Krabs with the $1.99. Thank you, Mr. Krabs, as always. Gromit, why is Rivet still in our house, Gromit? He says Gromit a lot, doesn't he? Like, all things considered.
It does, yeah.
Tom, that's the end of the super chats, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom. I mean, I guess it gives me a
Okay.
reference point for the voice to do, though. Anyway, audience, the episode is over, audience. Which means that I gotta shit. Where there it is, the skeleton. There he is. All right. So, Tom, let's start with you. You're the guest. What are you up to? What can the people look forward to from you these days?
Oh. I mean, I've got commissions open. I've got that, and just in the background, I want to make an actual large-scale project or something. So I've got ideas for that. I want to get down.
You got
So
any?
I'll probably be quite quiet.
You got any redeeming qualities?
Not that I can think of that would satiate your needs. No.
Then we will move on to
Unfortunately.
Franken.
Sorry.
I did
Really
not release
sorry.
my Mega Man video last week. I'm gonna release it this weekend. It's almost done. I'm like, I was gonna finish editing it this morning, but I fell asleep,
That's so me coded. That's very me.
which is why I was almost late to the podcast.
I see.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I'm here, like
mean
ready for the podcast. I wake
almost?
up 20 minutes before it starts.
I mean, to be fair, it happens. I get it. Pup, what are you up to? Well, I'm glad you asked. Okay, so
Pup, what are you up to? You keep
Well,
glitching out for me, okay?
Yeah, I can hear glitching sounds as well. It's kind of bit messy.
Like-
I don't know.
It is getting really bad.
Yeah, I see that my connectivity is going down as well. Well, I will go down with the ship. Hopefully the people on the stream can hear me well enough. I've got a video out on Sonic Rumble recently. So you can check that out. I think you'll really enjoy it. You'll have a good time. And I recently put out a new Doctor Who video today, but you guys don't give a fuck about that. There is the Sonic Rumbly Jumblies, and you can watch that. I talk about the post-update stuff that I didn't talk about the first time. So, yeah. That's the end of the episode, guys. Yes?
So, like, when did you know you were into owls?